Looking for a way to connect in the sports world during these unprecedented times? Or you wanted to showcase your talent? Then sign up for a free account at www.watchmylights.com. My Lights is a social media sports platform that provides all users with a free way to communicate and share sports highlight videos with anyone around the world. So whether you're a coach and want to easily recruit for your players, an athlete and want to showcase yourself, a parent, grandparent, or sports enthusiast, My Lights has you covered. Users can create a free account to share highlight videos, chat, post, and follow other users. My Lights is the new free social media sports platform the sports world has been waiting for. So go to www.watchmylights.com and get started now.
Yo, what up? We got a full house. What's up? What's up? Hey, I look at Tat and I just start. I ain't even gonna start. I just look at Tat and I know he got so many things he wants to say today.
Hey man, I'm just chilling.
Before we get to that, man, we got Big Bro on the screen with us, Kawasi. What's up, man? Mr. Hype South.
Hey, what's up, man? What's going on? How y'all doing?
What's up, brother?
Doing good, brother. Doing good.
All good.
Lot of news for travel out today. We're gonna touch on
Yes,
a lot of things today.
Yep.
Yeah. Charles G, what's up? Say it again.
Said enjoying the weekend.
Oh, there you go. All right. And Tat, we'll give you a segment I like, a show I watch, PTI. We'll give you 5 good minutes. Go ahead.
What? I ain't got nothing. Bro, I ain't got nothing to say, man. I'm good. What you want to talk about? What you want me to talk about?
Go ahead, man. Let's go ahead.
What?
We're giving you 5 minutes, man. Go ahead.
What you want me to talk about?
Don't do it, Ted.
Whatever's on your mind.
Don't take the bait, man.
I know it, man. He's trying to get me to go there. I ain't going there though.
You got 5 minutes, man.
I do got a question. I'm happy to get this. What's up with the Lakers?
With the Lakers?
They just lost in Portland.
Man, Russell Westbrook, that joker took the dumbest shot in NBA history, man.
That mid-range.
Hey, right? Yeah.
But some kind of way it's gonna be LeBron's fault.
Yeah, man. Golly, man.
Hey, he brought him there. So as long as Westbrook is there, that's why it's gonna be LeBron's fault, because he brought him
there. Gina Buss said she made that move, but I ain't gonna keep going there. She on record saying she made the move.
Yeah, he is happy this week. But yeah. Hey, but Philly too. Philly 0-3.
They'll turn around. I ain't worried about Philly. Darvin Ham got to do something in LA.
Man, he got to get Westbrook out of there, man. He's.
What's the fix?
Get Westbrook out of there.
Buy him out, sit him down, give him away for free. I don't even want to trade him.
Yeah,
So I've been watching, right? And just kind of sitting back in the cut and watching and seeing that they struggling with their shooting percentage.
Mm-hmm.
And only one name comes to mind. Carmelo Anthony. Got to bring him back.
Man, no.
Hey, did y'all know his percentages from last year?
It don't matter. That don't translate to this year.
That ain't no championships. There ain't no championships.
Hey, Miss Deborah.
What's up, Miss Deborah? But they ain't on championship track right now.
I know. I mean,
these guys are horrible. They're horrible shooting the basketball.
Right.
Horrible.
They can bring Camilo. They can get older.
I'm just saying. You got younger and you ain't got no shooters. But
I think they're better. Actually, you know who I like? I was watching McDermott. Spurs.
The Spurs went to Philly and beat Philly yesterday.
McDermott was shooting that thing.
Yeah. So, but yeah, all good.
Westbrook.
Hey man, it's a long season, 82 game season. They ain't played but 3 games. So
I don't think LeBron shot was worse than Westbrook. Westbrook shot, there was about 17 seconds left on the clock. He settled for a minute. Whereas LeBron had about 5 seconds, got it in the corner, didn't have much space.
Q.
What up, Q?
I don't know about that one, Bruce. Westbrook should way worse.
Westbrook made bad decisions. Man, I mean, it's
them folk got high, man. Everybody finna see them.
man.
They see what's going on.
Man, that man said LeBron shot worse than
Oh
Westbrook.
man,
That's
ain't nobody studying that.
that man shot the ball with 30 seconds to go on the
I ain't even
shot clock, man.
I mean, Charles, don't put that mess on screen no more.
18 seconds, my bad. 18 seconds on the shot clock. That's terrible. Up one.
Yeah.
With the lead. Man, come on. And you're a point guard. Man, that's terrible.
He was in rhythm.
I tell you this, Bruce. You say LeBron shot worse than Westbrook. LeBron had 31. Westbrook had 10.
Listen, man.
They're
gonna figure out a way. Yeah, Q. He in high.
Yeah. But other than that, man, I don't know, man. Westbrook got to go.
But Dame look good.
Dame look good.
Yeah, Dame gonna always look good in that market.
Nah, man, look good. He scored 41 back to back.
He gonna look good in that market. I mean,
what does that mean?
Oh Lord, Bruce, you the same one hopping on the Hoko bandwagon too, and they got to play veterans in another week or two. So you better worry about the Warhawks making the playoffs, Bruce. Now Hoko in a little bit of trouble too now.
Nah, we right.
Yeah, in a little bit of trouble right now.
We're right where we need to be.
But that's all right. We're gonna get to basketball and let's get to the. I ain't gonna hold y'all up today.
We're right where we need to be.
I ain't gonna hold you up today, man. I'm gonna let you slide today. You took that one on the chin, Thomas County Central, who's undefeated. So I'm gonna let y'all have that.
LeBron do these. I think we all agree with that one.
Yep, he needs some shooters around him, man. He does.
I don't know what's out there, what's available.
He needs shooters and need to put AD butt on that box.
Hey, you know
I got a lot I want to say, but I don't want to go there because it'll take too much time. But yeah, we'll get to it.
All right, we'll get to it. Let's get to the man.
Hey, without further ado, man, let's go ahead and bring our guest to the screen, man. Somebody getting a haircut?
I know that sounds a little crazy.
Let's bring our guest to the screen, Charles. Mr. Kyle Sandy.
What's up, Kyle?
Hey, thanks for having me, you guys. Big day today.
Big day today, brother. First of all, before we get into that, man, how's your Sunday been?
It's been good. It's been good, I think. Just focused on getting out those season girls state rankings and trying to avoid Twitter because, anytime I put stuff out, I ruffle some feathers, it seems. But other than that, no, it's been a good Sunday watching scary movies with the girlfriend. Just started Love is Blind season 3 on Netflix. So it's been a good day.
All right. Well, we're going to make sure that you have a good night as well, man. We ain't going to bring no static to you, man. We wanted to share our platform to talk about these rankings, man, and kind of how you got to these rankings. And before we get there, though, can we see your shirt?
Oh, yep. Everybody. Rankings don't equal rings. You can get that Sandyspill at sandyspill.etsy.com. So if you don't like where you're ranked to start the season, remember, just because you're ranked number 1, that doesn't mean you end the season with a ring on your finger. You have to do it for the entire regular season and the postseason. So rankings at the end of the day, they mean absolutely nothing as both a team and even more so as an individual. So go out there and prove me wrong. If you don't like where you're ranked as a team or as an individual player in player rankings, go out and show it on the court and earn that respect that you so deserve. So again, rankings, it's just a bit of a measuring stick to open up the year as far as teams go. But by the end of the season, it really means nothing at all where you were ranked to start the year.
Yeah, and before we jump into the rankings, Kyle, can you just talk about a little bit what your process is as far as coming up with these rankings?
This is a process. This is every single region printed out with notes on pretty much every team. On here, I have what the team finished last year, what they did in the state tournament. But really, for me, the most important thing, obviously, is what do you have coming back? Do you have a lot of starters coming back? Do you have some impact freshmen that might be debuting this year? What have you done traditionally? Are you from a region that has traditionally done very well in the state tournament? Are you in a certain geographical area that hasn't seen too much success in the postseason? So I really try and grab as much as possible. And even as far as that goes with the players coming back, now you look even deeper into that. Is this a Division I kid? Even if it's a Division I kid, well, is it a Division I kid that's Division I because they're based on potential and they only average like 6 points and 4 rebounds? Or is this a kid that has been doing it at the high school level, averaging 20 points and 5 rebounds and 5 assists, that is an impact player right now, not an impact player 2 or 3 years from now, what they've done in the high school game? So that's what I'm looking for when I'm doing these state rankings. What they've done in the past, what they have coming back, and the overall talent level. I try to take all that into consideration when I'm doing these state rankings.
How long have you been doing the state rankings?
Oh, boy. Well, Sandy Spiel's been around since 2015, so I guess since 2015. And maybe the girls started a little later, maybe 2017 or 2016. But I've been doing it for a while now. And, it takes a lot of time. I mean, if you go on my website today, that was over 12,000 words of analysis and trying to break down every single team that was ranked. So that's talking 80 teams ranked and trying to touch on each team, what they have coming back, any statistical stats that I have to provide to kind of highlight what they are expected to do this upcoming season. So I've been doing it for a while now. I guess it's not a perfect science. I mean, you can't pick everything to the T, because if you could, games aren't played on paper. And if they were, it would be very boring and no one would want to watch sports, because you would always just say, oh, this team's better, so they're automatically going to win. So I've been doing it for a while now, and it's really fun. I definitely like ranking teams more so than players. Players don't really love doing that because that's eye of the beholder. Do you like a point guard that can score more, or do you like a point guard that can facilitate more? Do you like a post player that is a great rebounder and score, or do you like a guy that's not going to score as much but it's going to block a lot of shots and protect the rim? So that's a little tricky to decipher. But when it comes down to ranking teams, you have the hard facts, you have the numbers, you see who they beat, this, that, and the other, and you can piece it together a lot easier than what you want to do with individual players.
Yeah, and I know you just mentioned it's not a perfect science, but and just from our conversations, I know from when you first started to where you are now, as far as gathering that information and doing all those things that go into it, do you feel that you've gotten better at this process?
I have more experience. I don't know if it's better. You take experience, what you've learned in the past, kind of like, can I trust a so-and-so team coming from a so-and-so region? Like I believed in one team, X amount of years, but I always get burnt when it comes to state tournament time. Like that doesn't mean they're not a good team, but like when we're trying to rank for the state rankings, as far as like, is this team a true state title contender? Like you might think this team's good, but in the back of your head, like the past 3 years, they've had a 25-win season and they lose in the second round every year. So kind of use history and, base it off that. But yeah, you always, the more you are in this game, I would hope that I get better and better at doing what I do. But again, when you're relying on 15 and 16-year-old kids and this and that, you never know what's going to pop up. A team might have a bad game at a bad time, and that could really erase everything they've done in the regular season. And when I'm trying to rank, the rankings throughout the season, again, you throw it out the window once you get into the state playoffs.
Yeah. So and we're gonna get to the rankings, but just a couple more questions. So have you had a team that shocked you one way or the other that you may have had ranked at the preseason and they didn't do well, and a team that you didn't have ranked and they did pretty well?
Yeah, that tends to happen. I feel like I was just looking back on my rankings from last year to see like, okay, did I have any huge gaffes and huge misses compared to teams I hit on? And for the most part, I feel like when I put a team in the top 10, they're going to be good. They're going to have a good record. They're going to be fine. They might not reach the ceiling that I initially thought they were going to reach, but most of the time those teams end up doing well. There's a few teams here and there that do. They don't really reach what I expected, and then it's like looking back, it's like, oh gosh, I hope no one pins that on their wall and say, hey, Kyle, you were 100% wrong about this team. They finished with 10 wins this year. And it's like, well, I can only go based on what I know. But yeah, most of the time I feel like I do a decent job of putting it together. But yeah, there's always teams that surprise. And that's what makes high school basketball and sports in general super exciting, because you never know what the rallying cry is going to be for a team and whether they're going to exceed expectations or for whatever reason, whether it be injuries, this, that, or the other, fail to meet expectations. And that's the exciting and interesting part of my job, is just seeing which teams are able to kind of live up to those standards I kind of put on them.
Got you. Hey, so before we jump into these rankings, y'all got any questions for Kyle?
I got a question. Do you when you're gathering your information and doing your research, do you is it all you, or do you kind of rely on others from other areas or stuff like that?
I try to be all me, because it's only human nature. Like if someone, if someone gives me food for thought and information on players in their area, obviously I will definitely consume that. But I know, like most of the time in certain pockets, like they're usually only going to kind of know about their area, and they might be like great in that area, but I have to view it statewide. Like they know that particular part, but I have to kind of know that part, this part, that part, this part, that part. So I'm always willing to take information and input on certain teams from people's particular areas, but I do have to know at the end of the day, I do kind of have to take that with a tiny grain of salt. But with that being said, if I do have that piece of information, I have to plug that into my little equation. Like, does that fit with what I've been seeing in past trends and what I see, what they have returning, and what I personally expect? If I think a team's going to be good and I hear it from the ground floor level that they also say, yeah, I think you're on the right track, this team is going to be very good, then that makes me feel a little bit better. But I take all that information, but I know at the end of the day, it comes down to me to really take a step back and view every single team in that classification and see where the puzzle pieces kind of fit in as far as where I want to rank a team.
Yeah. Kyle, I do have another question. How often are you getting out and actually seeing these teams?
During the high school season, I'm always out and about. I was in Albany, was it just last weekend maybe, to check out some South Georgia boys and girls, kind of trying to go out there and check that out, just to kind of familiarize myself about teams that obviously have less exposure really down south there. It gets a little bit tougher to kind of really know what you have going on when you might not have max prep stats, or you might not just be able to see that team in person. So I try to go out and see as many teams as possible. I try not to sit there and watch the same team play over and over again, whether it's over a certain course of years, see the same team, blah, blah, blah. I really try not to see the same team play. If I had my druthers, like 3 times would be max for me to see a team play in one season. I really would try to not see the same team play multiple times, especially if I've seen them over the past few years, because you kind of you know what to expect at that point. So I do try and go out and see as many teams as possible throughout the season. Of course, it just depends on the schedule and where I'm able to get to. But my goal is to see teams that I don't typically see and go out there and see as much as possible, instead of just the easy low-hanging fruits that are maybe 15 minutes down the road or anything like that.
There you go. Yeah, I know you tear the road up, especially during state playoff time.
Yeah. That's always fun. I've been to I was in Augusta for Cross Creek. I was in Edison for Calhoun County versus Social Circle, and I was in Savannah. I was in Tattnall County. So yes, I like to get down south and travel, and of course, obviously, get up north as well, and just everywhere in general. I try to cover.
There you go, covering the state.
I got one more for you. How much do you factor into like summer evaluations, individual and like team camps and AAU travel ball and stuff like that? How much does that play into your rankings in the preseason?
Yeah, I think it's difficult once you get into like the fall leagues and stuff, because some teams they play to win. Other teams are playing 5 in and 5 out. So if you're kind of watching that, you kind of have to decipher like, well, this team's not necessarily playing to win. They're playing to build depth and things like that for the future. And as far as travel ball goes, like, yeah, obviously I want to see these girls and see how they do at a really high level of competition. I think that's very important. But also in the back of my mind, I do know that the high school game is very much different from the travel ball game. I do know just because you're not averaging 20 points per game when you're playing against a travel team from, I don't know, Tennessee that has a bunch of kids that are going D2 and D1, that doesn't mean you're not going to be good for your individual high school team when you're playing in the 2A or 3A level. You might be a rock star there, but you might not be a Division I player, and it might show on the AAU circuit, but high school season, that doesn't matter. You might be the man, you might be the girl, you still might be producing, and you still might be a great player at the high school level. So I think all that stuff is very important to look at and just kind of bring in. And, again, it's that equation, just kind of measuring like how good is this player? How do I think that's going to translate into the high school level for the team? And, it's just a bunch of ebbs and flows. Like what do I rank more highly when I'm comparing players and teams? Again, it's kind of difficult to explain, but like, do I think a player is this amount much better than what I expect them to be? So, every piece of information is important. I always say information is key. Knowledge is power. The more you have, the better of a job you can do. So that is the goal, especially to try and see as many players and as much as possible to help me kind of formulate an educated opinion when it comes to ranking teams.
Gotcha.
Kyle, transfers.
Oh,
Yeah. How much does that play within the rankings?
well, yeah, obviously it's important, especially on the boys' side. I mean, it is what it is. State championships are won and lost in the summer months with transfers, especially on the boys' side. You can't tell me anything otherwise. That is where state championships are won and lost. You look at the vast majority of teams that win, it's a good chunk, especially in the higher classifications. It's a lot of transfers and not a lot of homegrown kids. So obviously it's bigger on the boys' side. I think I tracked down over 170. I'm sure I'm missing a ton more, and it's very frustrating on the boys' side because I got boys' state rankings supposed to come out a week from today, and I still got kids transferring every single day and mixing up my rankings coming up and down because kids are coming in from here, there, and the other way. So that's very frustrating. On the girls' side, yes, there's transfers in there. It's not as prevalent as the boys' side, at least from what I've been able to see. But yeah, of course that's important. If you see an all-state kid transferring in or an all-region kid transferring in, or even if it's just a depth piece for a team that is shorthanded, that needs that 6th or 7th man, that's very important. So when I'm doing my rankings, I'm obviously looking at incoming players, whether that be freshmen or transfers, all that stuff at the end of the day is what is going to be on the floor during the season, and what is on the floor is what I have to judge upon when I'm doing these state rankings.
Charles D, you got anything?
No, man, y'all pretty much covered everything. I'm taking it all in. It's outstanding with a lot of experience and knowledge of doing this. Me, I'm just learning. Not that I want to do rankings. I don't want none of that smoke.
No, you don't know. It's no, thankless job. You don't need to do it. Trust me. I'm thinking about not even doing boys rankings anymore because if we're literally going to have kids transfer every single week, even last year we have transfers going into the middle of the season. I mean, what's the point of doing rankings if teams are changing weekly?
So we got a question from my homeless player. How will Buford do in the future without the legend Mark? Can they keep the success after Mark at Cal?
Well, if this is Coach Eddie Martin on the boys' side, Buford has done okay. They made it to the state playoffs, state championship last year in Class 6A where they lost to Grovetown. Buford's always going to be a draw, but Buford has had some ineligibility issues come up this past week on the boys' side, which is really going to change things in Class 7A where they are a team that was obviously going to be one of the, I wouldn't say the favorite, but a team that is a contender. But there's some things changing in Buford on the boys program. But I think Buford is always going to be a contender, maybe not a state title contender right now in Class 7A, but that's always going to be a school you have to keep an eye on the boys' side and on the girls' side.
All right. Hey, and while we're going through this, man, viewers, whatever questions you got, Kyle's ready to take them all. You ready to take them all? So are we ready? We ready to jump into these rankings?
Yeah, let's get into the rankings, man. Wait,
What we starting with 1A?
Whatever you guys want.
What is 1A Division 1?
Hey, so about
Oh, my bad, y'all.
You said what, Charles?
I said whatever I put on the screen.
Yeah, whatever we put on the
Whatever you
screen.
put on, my bad, y'all. At least
Right.
y'all going crazy.
They say that brown make you want to fight, don't it?
Yeah.
Oh, right. All right.
All right, so Class 1A Division 2.
Yeah, so Class A, 1A, Division 2. This is essentially Class A public last year. There's a sprinkling of private schools, predominantly in Region 7, I want to say. You're looking at Lake Oconee Academy opens up number 1. That was a team. Their only loss was to Stratford last year, a private school. They went on to win the state title last year. I want to say 45-29 over Hancock Central. They returned their entire team. Now Ed Wilson is no longer the head coach. He was there for just 1 year, and then he left for Frederica Academy. So Savannah Souls is a first-year head coach with this program, and she played under Coach David Dowse, who won a state title at Lumpkin County this past year. But Lake Oconee, that's a team that has a lot of guards, and what really separates them from teams in this classification is their three-point shooting. They hit over 200 threes last year, and you're talking about in Class A public, Class A public, it can be kind of, it's different than a lot of other classifications just because it's so small, and a lot of these schools are in rural areas and they don't necessarily have the resources that some of these other schools have. But for Lake Oconee Academy to be able to knock down so many threes, to have everybody coming back, and to be just, also a pretty athletic team as far as what they bring in the backcourt. They're a really tough team to contend with. But there's other good teams. Like I saw Clinch County, pretty much their entire team last week in Albany. That's a team that has pretty much, again, everybody coming back. Tiana Dorsey is a big 6-foot junior inside that's going to cause a lot of problems, especially at that 1A D2 level. They have a lot of good players. They have a freshman, Amaria Dean, that I think has a chance to be really special for this team. And they have who is their leading scorer, Amion Grady. Probably said that wrong, but she was their offensive region player of the year last year. So they have a lot of pieces back for Clinch County. So this is, 1A, it's always I want to say a little bit of a crapshoot because you never really know what's going to happen. And you can have a good freshman that comes up and automatically changes things, like Schley County with Destiny Scott. She already has 3 offers after her freshman season. She might be the best overall prospect in this classification. But yeah, anything can go in this classification. I will say Green Force, looking at them at that bottom spot, if they have what they're supposed to have back, they only lose their leading scorer, but they have a 6'4" post and a 5'11" forward. And if you have that type of size, especially in the lower classification, that can just absolutely shut down most teams, because a lot of these teams are kind of predominantly scoring around the rim. But if you have a shot blocker in there, that can really change things.
Hey, so Kyle, I do want to kind of make sure we point some things out here, like on this graphic you have. So you got where they finished last year.
Yep.
As well as the record.
Correct. Yes.
All right. Why is that important to have on there?
I think it's just kind of for the common fan, and for me in general, just to kind of see what they did. Did they take a deep run last year? Are they a team that maybe didn't quite finish as well as what they would have expected last year? And also, if you see a team that didn't even make the state playoffs last year or was a first-round berth, and you see them, they're in the top 10 now, that gives you kind of an eye-opening thing that I am putting, putting some expectations on them for a team that maybe wasn't quite there last year, but this year they have an opportunity to do some things. So I think, again, it's just giving the full picture to everybody that looks at these rankings to see what their record was and what they did in the state playoffs when it really mattered.
Okay. And again, I think that's good to have. I just wanted to kind of put that out and have you speak to that.
Yes.
So you do have somebody asking you to come on and watch them play this year.
Prince Avenue Christian. They have some talented gals out there. They had a girl that came to my Sandy Spill Spring Showcase camp that did a really good job. I believe she was maybe a freshman last year. But Prince, they're in that. Let me see. Prince is in Region 8 with let's see. Let me pull it up right here. Where is Prince at, everybody? Prince is in there with where is Prince? Is Prince in the GHSA anymore? Let me pull it up, you guys. I'm pulled up right now. Prince. Don't tell me they left the GHSA. That would be good. Hold on. So we got Prince Avenue. Okay, so Prince Avenue is in Region 5 in Division 1. So they're in there with Jasper County, Oglethorpe County, a team that could be sneaky good on the girls' side. They have a freshman or a sophomore now that was about 6 foot, was a double-double machine last year. They have Social Circle in there as well. So Prince Avenue, I'm looking at them, just looking at this region. Prince Avenue is a team that I would fully expect to compete for a region championship on the girls' side this year.
Yeah. Hey, and Kyle, I want to apologize. I didn't give you your just due, man, when we brought you out. Not only do you do the state rankings and individual rankings, you are a tournament director, you are an evaluator, you do numerous things, you call games. So you're heavily involved with basketball. So again, that just kind of goes to your experiences in combined or totally as far as what you're doing right here.
Right. Yes, sir. Yeah, I've been all around it. And Abe's got a question about Diana Collins from Brookwood, just committed to Ohio State recently. I'm not great at comps as far as comparing players, but she's a special player just because she's so smooth and so skilled as a scorer, which obviously is the first thing that stands out when you watch a player like that. But she makes everybody around her so much better. She's going to force teams to double team her. She's going to be able to find the open man. But Brookwood has so much talent, which I'm sure we'll talk about later on in the show when we get to Class 7A, that she's, she can get her 20 points, but she can also beat you with 12 points, 10 assists, and, close to 10 rebounds. But she's a really special player. When we're talking about point guards in the state of Georgia, Diana Collins, especially in the senior class, I think she is the very best. And I think she's the best player, best senior in the state of Georgia this year, actually.
Okay, good. Charles, you got the next list?
Yeah. We'll get to one more of these. And again, we'll probably go through some of these.
Once we get there.
Once we get there. How big of a year do you expect Meyer from Norcross to have?
I think he should have a big year. This is, again, on the boys' side, super athletic. When I first saw him when he transferred over originally, not this past year, but the year before, really athletic. And I think he kind of found his niche as the season went on. He's a really good energy guy. I think he needs to shoot the ball a little bit better, but he's really good at getting to the basket. And I think he has a lot of upside defensively. And with the Norcross team that has a bunch of transfers coming in, where he fits in exactly, I think he'll obviously fit in the starting lineup. But that's a kid that has really gained a lot of traction with Division I schools over the offseason, picking up offers. And I think he's obviously going to be a candidate to finish really strong in his career as Norcross tries to do one of the toughest things in sports, and that is win a back-to-back state title in the GHSA's highest classification.
There it is.
Yeah, we'll come back to the well. So this is 1A, Class 1A, Division 1.
Yeah, so this is a classification where, it's tough if you're a public school because you have those private schools mixed in with Galloway and St. Francis, and just what they have on their roster, top to bottom, they're head and shoulders above everybody else in this classification. And when I wrote about this, with the new classifications and the regions changing and the public and the private schools interspersing together, that all but extinguishes some teams' hopes of being a dark horse and winning the state title, and it elevates some other teams as far as winning a championship. Because you look at Galloway, what they were in a region with last year, I think they were in there with like Wesleyan and Hebron Christian and Holy Innocents, like a murderer's row, some of the very best teams in the entire state. And now they don't have to worry about that. I mean, they're in there with St. Francis in Region 6, but there's two different sub-regions now. Those two teams are definitely going to be the top two teams to beat in this classification. Galloway, I mean, you're looking at D1 and D2 prospects all up and down that roster with Tiana Thompson leading the way. She has a bunch of mid-major, high-major offers. Her freshman sister, Taryn Thompson, already has high-major offers. Kyla Kane is a forward that has a San Diego offer. Allison Hoffman has a Wofford offer and is getting looked at from D2 to D3 as a shooter. Jasmine Baxter is about 5'11", a sophomore, but she is so good on the low post, able to score with her back to the basket. They just have so many tools. And obviously, Kaylin Fields, I would be remiss to forget, a Kennesaw State commit at the point guard spot. So Galloway's doing it from that's why I have Galloway ahead of St. Francis. Now, St. Francis, where they have an advantage over Galloway and everybody in that classification, is their height. They're so big. Samaya White is 6'2". Trinice Taylor is a 6'3" commit going to Kennesaw State. Anisha Hall, I believe is her name, is about 6'4". St. Francis, how they've always been good. Now, they haven't won a state title in about 6 years, but they always just suffocate teams with their press. They get so many steals. When you have 6'3", 6'4" on the back line, and especially in the front when they're chasing the ball, they get so many turnovers and really just mercy rule teams with that skill. So those two teams are tough. But Elbert County, they're the defending state champs in Class 2A, really good. They have everybody back, their best players. Anaya Allen's about 5'5", the Class 2A defending player of the year. And then Nia Moon is another senior, but she's only about 5'3", but tenacious defender, shoots a three. They really get after it. I know Elbert County, they're chomping at the bit to see one of those top two teams and get a chance at them in the state tournament.
Yeah. I was going to touch on Elbert. Got a chance to watch him in the state championship game and as well at the live period team camp at Swanee, and they are scrappy. And
Yes.
I was going to say, I hear you with the private schools and all of the prospects, but I wouldn't underestimate Elbert because they're very competitive. I saw them play against some 6A schools. Played against a couple 6A schools up there, and they handled them easily. So I think they'll have something to say.
Yeah, Elbert, for sure. I mean, like you were just talking about the GBCA Live event. They tore up Forest Park in a game. I know Forest Park might have been missing one player, but they tore them up in the GBCA. Elbert County with their press and how, just relentless they are. They will provide a lot of issues for those top two teams. And Bernasia Faust, I think, is the X factor inside, only about 5'10", but she's the one that keeps them from getting destroyed on the glass. She rebounds, she blocks shots, it can score on putbacks. Elbert County is sharp. And what I wrote about on my website, I said it feels like the top three spots in the Final Four in this classification are filled out. Galloway, St. Francis, and Elbert County. I think it would take a momentous upset for one of those three schools to get beat in the state playoffs. I don't know. We'll see how the rest of the state shapes up. But from what these teams have coming back, it is very hard for me to see those three teams not representing three spots in the Final Four come March.
All right. Hey, and for the we'll take the comments and we'll put them up and we'll keep it pushing. If anybody's a loyal watcher of this podcast, we know Charles gets grouchy after a certain amount of time, so we want to kind of just roll as we will.
Sorry, Charles. It's all my fault.
It's all.
Dr. Love, Westlake make it 5 in a row.
You have to stick around to find out, Dr. Love.
All right. Class 2A.
The team at number 3. Oh my gosh. Mr. Hype South. Yeah, break down this classification for me, sir.
No, man, I'm just here to listen.
Okay.
I might chime in here. It's all you, Kyle.
I'll let you touch on Central Macon because you obviously know that team intimately, much more than any outsider would. But just looking at this classification, obviously Mount Perrin is number 1, it looks like. But I don't see a runaway favorite, like put it in the bank, run away. No one's going to touch them in this classification because Mount Perrin, they won it all last year. Bakara Dunn is gone. She's at Georgia Tech now. She was my Sandy Spiel Miss Georgia basketball last year. She was phenomenal. Talk about a player that could do everything and made literally everyone around her better. That was the player in the state of Georgia last year. She was phenomenal. She's gone. They graduate. Some other players. Caitlin Dunning is over there at West Georgia now. Now Mount Perrin's still, very tough. They had some transfers come in. Sierra Alexander moves in from Holy Innocents. She's going to be a forward. That's going to be a force to reckon with. They have Jessica Fields, who is Justin Fields' little sister, 6'1", was a first-team All-State player last year as a freshman, has high major offers, blocks a lot of shots, had some monster games in the postseason. And they have a talented backcourt, sophomore backcourt, Katali Humans. I want to make sure I pronounce these names. I'm bad at this. Let me look at it. Humans, and then Jacqueline Murthill. 2 really good sophomore guards, so they're going to really help run that show over there. So Mount Perrin's tough, but I'm not planting my flag and saying they're untouchable and unbeatable. I mean, Landmark Christian at number 2, they were 21-9 last year. They played in a terrible region. No one in that region finished with like more than 7 wins other than them. And I think Landmark Christian is a solid team. But I would have liked to see what they would be able to do in a better region last year. But that's last year. It doesn't matter now. Gabby Grooms is a Georgia Tech commit, and she's a straw that stirs the drinks, averages about 18 points and 10 rebounds per game at the guard spot. And then number 3, Middle Georgia's finest, Mr. Kawasi, take it away. What do we have with Central Macon? This is a talented team, I've been told, with a lot of firepower, especially coming out of the backcourt.
Well, man, I'll just say this. We are excited. We're excited. We've been working for years to kind of build a program to get to a point to where we feel we can contend for a state title. Like I told you earlier, man, I've been there 7 years. Head coach Williams has been there 8 years. And during that time, we've done everything there is to do except reach the Final Four and win a state championship. Everything else we've done. We got a good core returning. We got a big time transfer in Leah Grain, returning Talia Greer. We got one senior, Kayla Pryor. She's a good glue piece. A couple underclassmen, Francis and Yakudo, Jasmine Johnson. Just got a good mix, and we feel good about what we got, and we will be ready. We'll compete. We put together a tough non-region schedule. We play. I got some notes here, Kyle. We play. Of course, we're in the region with Northeast Macon, so they're your number 10 right there. We play them twice. Okay. We play Dodge County at the Bear Brawl up in Houston County. We play your 4A number 2 Baldwin. Your 4A number 5 Stockbridge. 6A number 5, I think, Forest Park. And also we play a team who I think is a top 10. We'll get to that later. Veterans. I think they should be top 10, maybe top 5. But we also play them. So and we did that with the intentions for the long haul, because we know the reason that we're in is a little down. So we wanted to schedule some tough games there at the start and just throughout the season to kind of challenge ourselves. Because I know that goes a lot into how you feel about a team as well. Oh, yeah. So
definitely.
Yeah. So but we feel good, man. Like I said, we were 23-6 last year. Went to the Elite 8, lost to Pierce. Girls grew up a little bit. We missed the playoffs, I think, the year before Only year since I've been there that it was that COVID year.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so we're excited, man. We got a couple pieces and we're gonna be ready.
Yeah, I believe it. Like I said, I think Class 2A is going to be fun. I mean, we're probably going to be chasing Mount Perrin and Landmark Christian maybe, but I think it's not a wide gap at all. I think anyone could come up there and make some noise. But a team I do want to highlight, number 8, Banks County. They were only 10-18 last year. They played in a super good region that featured Union County, featured Elbert County, the 2A state champion. They featured Rabun County, the 2A state runner-up. So Banks County has seen some of the best teams in the state now. Elbert County and Rabun County are finally out of that region. Banks County, they have a post presence about 6'1". Cameron Greer is an Emmanuel commit, average about 16 points and 12 rebounds per game. Truly dominant post presence that has, if you read the write-up I wrote, I mean, she had monster games against the best teams in the state and did so against some of the best post players in the state, like Aaliyah Hunt from Peachtree Ridge, who's going to Georgia State. She had a monster game against her as well. So with her inside, they also have Carly Seegers as another 6-foot post presence. And then they have a sneaky good guard that's going to be a junior. Addison Horde was injured this offseason. She's tough as well. So they have a really nice nucleus, a very sneaky team. It's going to be dependent on that guard play, if they can get a couple more guards to hit some shots and handle ball pressure. But Banks County, they have seen a lot of competition, and they have, just looking at this, probably maybe the best post player in this classification right now today, as far as putting up double doubles and scoring, and is a legitimate college player, which I thought was a Division I talent. I think Banks County, if things click for them, they could be a team that we could see playing into March.
Cool. Hey, before we go any further, though, Charles, can you go ahead and put Dr. Love's last statement up?
Hey. Put that up.
Because this did happen last week.
Joker went completely crazy.
I didn't go crazy.
Nah, he ain't go too crazy.
Just stay by.
Yes, he did. All right, let's move forward.
All right.
Kyle, so when you're out, while we're waiting for that to come up, when you're out and about and people, man, you ranked us too low, or you this, or you that, or how do you learn to deal with that? I'm sure everybody's not malicious, right? Sometimes it's just good conversation.
Yeah, I mean, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, which is why I'm entitled to my opinion, and as are everybody else out there. No, I mean, if I usually don't try to debate the stuff too much, because it's, at the end of the day, it's what I personally feel. Right. I can come on here and explain, like, okay, I have this team here because they have so and so coming back, and they came off a Final Four trip and then lost by 1 point, and I think they're coming out of a strong region, this, that, and the other. I can explain it that way. When it comes down to, like, butting heads and trying to say this team is better than this team, it is what it is. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and I listen to people. It is what it is. They're allowed to tell me, and then we just, okay, it doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what they say. It matters what the scoreboard says at the end of each game, at the end of each season. So that's the great determining factor at the end of the day.
So you get one of those, when my baby's on that team, and she or he's been working out, and I know they're gonna be good. So you wrong, Mr. Sandy.
Hey, I'll sit there and watch. I'll sit there and watch from afar, and I'll see if it comes to fruition or if it's not necessarily.
Coach Black.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, Coach.
Yes, sir. So, all right, Kyle, 3A.
3A, yeah, this is a really interesting, good classification when you look at it, especially the top 4 teams. You see 2 private schools, you see 2 public schools, you see out of those 2 public schools, one strictly homegrown program. You see one team that I think brought in 6 transfers this year and has been built off transfers for forever, it feels like now. But Hebron is a good team. We'll stick with them at the number 1 spot at the private school level. Aubrey Beckham moved in last year as a freshman. I think she came in from like Wellington, Florida, maybe. Something like that. But she's really good, and obviously she's been an important piece. And they bring in 3 more transfers this year. Mia James is really good. She's got some D1 offers, a little point guard that came from Mount Vernon Presbyterian, and then the Butler sisters coming from Winderbarrow. Trinity Butler, I believe, just committed to Queens. She's about 5'10", and then Jakira Butler is a rising sophomore, over 6 foot tall, is a double-double machine. I hear is great. I've seen her once or twice in the travel ball season, but Hebron's got a lot of weapons to deal with, or a lot of weapons to disperse at their own, willingness, I guess you could say. But they're loaded, and they're a really good team. Lumpkin County at number 2, a team that is all homegrown talent. They won the state championship last year, 30-1. Their only loss was when Coach David Dowse was away from the team. So they did not lose a game with Coach Dowse on the sideline to beat GAC in that title game. Mary Molnax is a defending Class 3A Player of the Year, and I know she might not have all the big offers and everything. She's committed to play at Emory Division III school. But what you look at what she did last year, like the numbers don't lie. And it's not like Lumpkin was playing legitimate cupcakes the whole time. Like, they beat some good teams in the postseason. They beat some good teams in the regular season. But Mary Molnax, she averaged 18 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists, close to 4 steals, shot 35% from 3. You got Avery Jones, averaged close to 18 points per game. Kate Jackson is going to Emmanuel, a really good forward that had 15 and 13 in the state championship. Just a really good team. And Lexi Pierce is coming off an injury, but she should be ready to go. She's committed to play at North Georgia. And if you're committed to play at North Georgia, I mean, North Georgia, Final Four team in Division II last year, a Division II team that would beat a vast majority of Division I teams. So Lumpkin County is loaded, and it's all a homegrown team that is built every single year. They had heartbreak the year prior when they lost to Cross Creek. They went into Augusta, exercised those demons, a game that I was at last year. And then they were able to come back, a 12-0 run they used in the second half to beat GAC. So Lumpkin County is for real. One of the best coaches, if not the best coach in the game, considering it's all homegrown talent. If you just use your eye test, the sets, and all the plays that Coach Dowse runs to get his players open looks. He runs the flex, which a lot of people don't think is fun, but the flex works. It won a state championship. He's just so meticulous with that and putting all his players in the best position. So Lumpkin County, a really, really, really good team. It's going to be super tough for them to repeat, but that team is for real. Carver Columbus, what we said, 5 or 6 transfers moved in. And they already, I think, graduated 1 senior from last year's team. So if you're looking from top to bottom, if you want the best 10 players or the deepest team in Class 3A, you're probably going with Carver Columbus. A team that is super dangerous. It's just all about meshing together. And if all those pieces are going to work together, they have a lot of talent. They're used to really overwhelming teams in a region that hasn't been necessarily great. Troup County was in there last year, but Anaya Palmer got hurt, and that really wiped them off the map. Hardaway was good last year, but they were young. They were pretty much all freshmen. And now they're in a region with Thomasville, Monroe, and Doherty is going to be their main contenders. But I think Carver should be able to clear those hurdles. And the last team I want to talk about in this classification is Wesleyan. Only 13-10. They put in a great region last year. I think it was Region 5 with Hebron and Holy Innocents, and all those juggernaut teams are just so difficult. But Wesleyan's got so much talent. Chit Chat Wright was Class A private most improved player of the year last year, averaged about 20 points per game. She's got a bunch of D1 offers, young team, a lot of good juniors in there. That is a very, very difficult team. And they're coming out of that Region 7, which is loaded with number 2 Lumpkin. You got number 4 Wesleyan, number 7 Pickens, and number 8 White County. Region 7 is the best region in Class 3A, hands down, top to bottom, with just so many good teams.
Cool.
That is going to be a good region. I think I'm going to keep an eye on that one.
Great info, man. Great info.
Yeah.
Great info. Oh yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I drone on. I try and get out there. I try not to be too long-winded, but I know I'm not
Yeah.
good at that. I apologize, you guys. This is a
Oh,
long
nah.
one.
Nah, you
Awesome.
all right.
Refill the
Kyle got
red solo cup, you guys. Come on.
Kyle got a new nickname, Stats.
Yeah. Class 4A.
4A.
Yeah, this is just looking at this, Holy Innocents was probably the best team in the state. I felt like, maybe other than Woodward Academy, but throughout the regular season, Holy Innocents was as good as it really got last year. But they lost in the Final Four to Mount Perrin. Now they dropped or move up actually to Class 4A, but they don't really have as much depth on paper as what I know looking at this team, because they did have some players transfer out. Brooks Suttle transferred out to Campbell. You lost Sanaya Harris, transferred to her dad's school at Archer, and then Ciara Alexander went to Mount Perrin. So Holy Innocents lost a lot, but they do have a lot. Haley Swain is a sophomore already committed to Stanford, regarded as one of the best point guards in the nation in her class. Olivia Hutcherson's going to Princeton. I love her game as a 6'4" that is just so strong and so great at collecting rebounds around the basket and is also able to attack from the wing. So those two alone, I think, are going to be super important. And then they also have Zanaya Preston, who I think is a very undervalued junior guard who is really, really good, is going to make maybe a low Division I or a high Division II team very happy. She's a really good player that is probably going to pick up some offers this year. So that's a really good core. But you look at Baldwin, a Baldwin team that has a lot of size. Janae Walker inside is about 6'3". They have a post presence coming off the bench about 6'5". Madison Ruff is a really athletic guard that wants to get downhill. They also have Cassidy Neal, I believe her name is, about 6 foot, maybe a sophomore, big body, but his skill will shoot the three, shoot from the perimeter. I just worry about the outside shooting for Baldwin and also Griffin. That's been kind of a little bit of a bugaboo for these teams, because Tamaya Smith graduates from Baldwin. She was their best three-point shooter last year. So they only returned maybe 30 or 40 made threes all season from last year's team, Baldwin. Griffin, like I mentioned, same thing. Last year when I watched them play, I thought they won a lot of games by being better athletes, being longer, being aggressive on the offensive glass, just out-rebounding teams. But I don't know if that's going to work out once you get deep into the state tournament, because they lost in the Sweet 16, upset by Loganville, I believe it was, who was able to kind of keep them off the glass and control that. But Griffin, they have Maya Puckett back. She's a really good post presence that she was going to be. I think she still has a chance, but she was a high major prospect. Last year was ineligible, then came back, tore ACL, only played in 2 games, but she averaged close to 19 points per game in those 2 games. So she's going to be great inside. Zy Thompson, originally from Pike County, was a region player of the year last year. Leah Turner is their best 3-point shooter, who I think is super important to Griffin as far as spacing out the floor. And Duranham inside is a lefty, about 5'9" or so, a wing, but again, just a great leaper, gets a lot of her points in the paint, 15 feet and in. And then the last team, I guess I'll quickly mention, Luella. Probably should have won state last year. Didn't want to hold the ball when they had a lead on Marist, and they let that game lose. Slipped through their fingers in a crazy double overtime game. Luella's good. They still have Ari Dyson, who's going to Mercer, a really good 6'1" post presence. They have some athletic players on the wing. Trinity, Layson maybe? She's Layton. She's really long. She gets after it. Milani Smith is a big body wing that had 20 points and 10 rebounds in that state championship game. And then Cam Berry is going to South Alabama at the guard spot. So when you're looking at those 4 teams, I think I give it to Holy Innocents, just because, again, you look at the history. They're a really polished team. They're really good. They've seen the best of the best. I know they lose a lot, but that big 3 of Preston, Swain, and also Hutcherson is really, really legit. But Baldwin has some big girls. Like we said, Griffin is really good if they can control the glass. And then Luella, the same, has a lot of big game experience. So I think that top 4 is really, really tough.
Sound like another good classification.
Definitely. And wait, so you have a lot of these teams playing in the Hardwood Invitational, correct?
Yeah, I got a couple of them in there. some he's we got Baldwin, of course, Central. Warner Robins is in there. I think he's going to get to 5A. I got a question though. About the 4A before you hit the 5A, Kyle.
Yes.
Did you break down Stockbridge a little bit?
I did not. Stockbridge, 2 good guards. Carrington Wilson, I believe her name is. She's been an all-state player multiple times already. Really athletic. Probably 5'10", 5'11", maybe close to 6 foot. She averaged about 15 points and 10 rebounds a game at the guard wing position. She's been really the one that makes him go. But Janiah Jones, I believe her name is a sophomore. She averaged about 14, 15 points per game as a freshman. So it's really those two that have 1/3 option that average maybe about 7 points per game or so. But it really starts with Jones and Wilson in the backcourt. Those are really the two that make Stockbridge go. So they're a young team when you're talking about a junior being your best player and a sophomore being your second best player. They're still a little bit young, but that's a team that's they're on the rise. And if they can put together a strong year this year, I think once you see Wilson as a senior next year, they would probably feel pretty good about taking a deep run into the state tournament.
So that should be a pretty good matchup on the 10th, huh?
I heard about that. Yeah. What's that event called? The Sandy Spiel Showcase at Grayson? I hear Central Macon is locking horns with Stockbridge. There's a lot of top 10 teams. Let me pull it up and just see. I'll just list the teams. I don't have to list the matchups, but I see River Ridge, who's ranked number 1. I see Lake Oconee Academy is ranked number 1. Central Macon, we already saw them ranked number 3. Stockbridge ranked highly. Elbert County, who was ranked number 3. Murray County was a team we saw maybe ranked about 7th in their classification. Archer we'll touch on quickly. Baldwin we just talked about. Galloway is a team we talked about already being ranked number 1. Langston Hughes is a top 10 team we'll touch on. There's a lot of good teams in this 12-10 event at Grayson, I would say. So we're on to 5A, huh?
On that 5A.
Kell is a team that everyone thought was going to easily win a state title. No doubt it's going to come. But now they're all seniors. They were, 32-0 when they were all freshmen. Crystal Henderson, they lost a heartbreaker to Buford by 3 points, and they said, they'll get back there next year. Well, next year they ran into Westlake, a buzzsaw. No one was ever going to beat Westlake. Just a bad time to be around with another dynasty. Okay, so that's year 2. Down the drain, no state title. Then last year, they meet up with Sequoia, who they were definitely favored to beat Sequoia in the Final Four, but they lose 40-38. So now you fast forward, Crystal Henderson in that terrific 2023 class is all seniors, and they don't have a ring yet. But now they drop down to Class 5A, where it literally is now or never for Kell with that group of seniors with her. Jada Peterson's over there. Jada Green is a really good forward that is super underrated, who I think is incredibly valuable with what she brings to the table. MJ Harris transfers over from Marietta, where she won a state championship as a sophomore. Just so many pieces. Jemiah Gregory is healthy now, and she's been playing ever since she had her health scare back when. Kell has all the pieces, and they've been able to do it. They just have run into buzzsaws in the state tournament. Last year was a little bit of a hiccup where they probably, talent-wise, should have won that game, but they didn't. But Kell is the team to beat in Class 5A. But I do see Mr. Tatt. What do you know about this number 2 squad, Warner Robins? What's the word on the street over there? I hear they're pretty tough.
They are pretty good, man. I think they had one senior. They returned in their core pieces. Neville Mack, Tasia AG, Tori Davis, and Jada Morgan, along with Kennedy Howard, who's patrols the paint for them and rebounds well. So they returning all the pieces as well from that Final Four team, and we're looking forward to them making another deep run and hopefully get over the hump and get into their state championship game.
Yeah, I must say Middle Georgia girls basketball is shooting up. Not to say it's not been good, but it is going up right now with Warner Robins being good, Central Macon being good. I know where's veterans? Are they in 6A? I'm sure we'll touch on veterans. I'll let Mr. Koishi touch on veterans in 6A, but there is so much talent to go around in Middle Georgia. Baldwin, if you want to consider that, obviously in Milledgeville, but there's a lot of good talent right now in Middle Georgia and surrounding areas, and Warner Robins, Central Macon, two of the very toughest teams. And I know we'll talk about them more. Mr. Quasi, do you have anything to say about that Warner Robins team? You were able to see them. I know they played in your event last year.
Yeah. They guard play is always tough. They play hard. They'll harass you 94 feet. They'll guard you, and little half court zone they play really gives people fits. I think I've seen the boys play that a little bit too, so I don't know if they're working hand to hand on that, but really good, well coached team. Jada Morgan, pretty good. Just committed to South Carolina State. So like you said, they returned the bulk of the team. So, I look for them to make another deep run. I have them playing against Baldwin this year in the Invitational. So 4A number 2 versus 5A number 2. So that should be a good one.
Yeah, you know how to pick those games for sure. That's a really good matchup. And one last quick thought on Class 5A, just that it's so many teams that we typically don't see winning state titles every year, other than Cale, who was preseason number 1 in 6A last year. Like Northside Columbus, they got really good really quick. Michaela Hosley is a really good sophomore that's got D1 offers. You look at them at number 3. Just that Region 1 in general, you got Greenbrier's ranked number 4. Bradwell's ranked number 5. Statesboro's unranked, but that's a tough team that was 22-6 last year. Ware County 19-8 a season ago. They have a team that returns pretty much everybody from their group last year, a Sweet 16 team. So that Region 1 and just that kind of South Georgia type area from Macon and below, it feels like, or Warner Robins and below, there's some good teams that have a real great opportunity to make a deep run in the state tournament and kind of pull a state title away from Kell or any of these Metro Atlanta schools. So I'm really excited to see how this classification plays out. I think we're going to have a lot of new blood and a lot of teams that you don't typically see playing in the Final Four and deep into March, having a great opportunity to capture a state championship.
Cool. And why you changing? Who was that in the same region with us? Union Grove. Grove was in the same region with us. And Ware County was in the region with us last year.
Right.
So we got to see them quite a bit last year. And that coach actually does a great job with those girls at Ware County.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good team. They, like I said, they got everybody coming back. And you mentioned Union Grove as a team that also has like their big 3. They lose maybe one of their top 4 players, but Union Grove is a good team with Jordan Brooks, a good guard. Nadia Smith is a really blossoming forward as well. But Class 6A, before we touch on Class 6A, Mr. Coisi, there is a team missing in the Class 6A rankings, a team that definitely was on my list. I had them, but when you have a lot of new faces, I like to slow play it. I like to see them earn their stripes at the varsity level. And, they put together 2 or 3 quick undefeated weeks. They'll be right in there. But who is the team that I'm talking about?
Yeah, veterans. I know, like you say, you have to see them a little bit more. And, still a lot of unproven, players all together. But for me, man, the freshman, Gabby Minus, I think it's well documented how I feel about her. In my opinion, she's the best player talent-wise in Middle Georgia, and probably all of Georgia in the freshman class. She already has 4 or 5 Division I offers, and she hadn't even played a high school game yet. So that should speak to how good she is. Got a couple of new faces transferring in as well, Rihanna Bird and Destin Seaton. So the roster, man, like I said, if the potential of it is definitely top 10, in my opinion, top 5. Couple of returners, Leanna Miners and the Wolfhawk kid. I just think, like you said, once they play together and the season gets going and they start to mesh like I think they will, I think they're going to take this classification by storm, because like I said, they're not listed. And they definitely have a top 10 roster. Like you said, though, it'll just be interesting to see how it all comes together. And if it does, hey, I think they can make a deep run, Final Four type run. That's the kind of talent they have. They're long. Minus is about 6'1". Bird is about 6'1". Long, athletic, can run the floor. Seaton, 5'10", 5'11" guard. I think you just saw her at the Pro Movement event.
Yep.
So they got size and talent, man. So that's a combination for success. So we'll see, but I think I think they're a top 10 team.
So wait, so let me ask you, and you're saying that, so you're saying if they can come out at the beginning of the season and kind of gel quickly, you think they can make a deep run this year?
Whether it's the beginning or somewhere in the middle,
Right before.
whenever they gel, I think it'll be sooner than later, though. I do. That's my opinion.
Right.
But whenever it clicks, because like you said, you got a freshman, couple transfers, couple returners who wasn't necessarily starters, so they'll be in different roles. But the talent, man, it's just undeniable. It's there. So when it clicks, the state will know. Yeah. So.
Yeah, and I think they're in a region where they can win a lot of games. And if this talent just plays that on the floor, like you mentioned, they should be in good shape to grab a really good seed. They're in Region 1. You're looking at Howson County, who went 21-5 last year, but they graduate everybody. So they're hitting the reset button, a Sweet 16 team. Lee County was 19-7 last year. They had their top scorer and their third best scorer back, but they graduate pretty much everything else outside of that. Northside Robbins, their 3 best players all transfer out. They're gone. Thomas County Central, a team I saw in the first round of the state playoffs last year, they lose their top scorer. 2 through 5 is back. But that was a team that was in, I want to say it was in Class 3A last year, 4A last year. That was 19-9. But that is a team, they're very small, a lot of 5'6" guards. So they had a good season last year, but I think this is going to be a big jump from them, considering you're going from 4A to 6A. So that's going to be a big jump for them. And Tiff County, their top 2 players graduate from a 16-9 team. So veterans at 9-17 last year. Like you said, with this influx of talent, I think they have a chance to do very, very well this year.
Yeah, and they'll I don't know if it's their first game, but I think it is. I also have them in the invitational, and I got them matched up against Statesboro, so that'll be a good early test for them.
Yeah. And Statesboro, big, athletic. Alyssa Staten inside is about 6'3", double girl, D1 offers, and always just a very well coached team. Marty Holder does a really good job. So that's definitely going to be a good test for them. But, 6'8", looking at it, River Ridge, really, really good. People might ask, River Ridge, why did I pick River Ridge over Lovejoy? Lovejoy, defending state champs. Now, the thought process there was Lovejoy beat River Ridge last year. That was in the Elite Eight. That was at Lovejoy. River Ridge trailed 45-40 going into the fourth quarter, lost by about 12 points or so. But Lovejoy, they graduate 4 important players with 3 collegiate front court members. Layla Hood graduated a 6-foot post that's at Mercer, so that's 1 D1 player. Brianna Hardy, about 6'2", 6'3", another forward. She went to UCF. That's 2 Division I forwards inside now. And then also they graduated a player, I believe Kiara Peterson, that went to Shorter. That was about 5'10". So Lovejoy is going to be good. Obviously, I have Brianna Preston, who's a terrific player that is picking up offers left and right. Just got a Tennessee offer. Lovejoy is really, really good, but River Ridge, they don't graduate very many players, maybe 3 players, but only 1 or 2 kind of played a significant role. They have pretty much everybody back. Matea Gale is a Penn commit. Just check her stat line. She just fills up the stat sheet. So good, a true elite point guard. Sophia Pearl was a Class 6A freshman of the year last year, averaged over 14 points per game. She has multiple D1 offers, hit over 83s a season ago. Kayla Cleveland is a 6-foot inside-out forward, is really good. Allie Sweet averaged close to 10 points and 10 rebounds a game, super long and about 6'2", and has added some muscle to her frame. And then Michaela Roberson's a freshman at 5'8", 5'9". A lot of people think she has a chance to be super special. So I mean, when you're just checking off the boxes, River Ridge with all that experience coming back, they have everything there. Lovejoy is going to be really, really good, but Lovejoy does have girls that are going to have to step into bigger roles now, especially in the front court. Now, I know Lanaya Foster is still there. She's really, really good, and she's going to play a great role. And Boyd in the backcourt as well as a really aggressive guard that likes to get downhill. But I just, I put stock into experienced teams that have everything coming back, and that is what River Ridge has. But don't sleep on a team like Rockdale that had Tremaya Berry transfer in to provide some outside shooting to go along with Danielle Carnegie, the Class 6A Player of the Year last year, a terrific high major guard, and her two running mates as well are back with her as well. Leah Edwards averaged 13 points per game. Nyla Williams, 10 points per game. There's some really good teams here, but that top of River Ridge, Lovejoy, and then the star power of Rockdale, I think they have a chance to be really special this year, all three of those teams.
Could you talk about Forest Park and that region with Woodward and all of those a little bit?
Yeah, that's when you're looking at it, you look at Woodward was a state champion in what was it? Was it 5A? 5A last year. Thank you. They were the back-to-back state champs in 5A last year. You have Rockdale, who made it to the Final Four last year. Lovejoy, the defending state champs in 6A, and then Forest Park, who lost in the 5A state championship. So you got four juggernaut teams on paper right there. Now, Forest Park, they don't graduate a whole lot from last year's team. Yasmin Allen is a really good 6-foot junior scorer, averaged over 19 points per game. They have a St. John's commit at the guard position, super athletic. Jada Brown average, stuff the stat sheet, 14, 4, 6, and 4. And they have some big girls inside. Michaela Arnold's really a physical, intimidating presence. Hannah Willis is supposed to be there. Jalea Robinson transferred in from Woodland Stockbridge. But I why I have them at number 5 and not maybe a little bit higher is I don't know what they have as far as a true point guard that can facilitate and take the ball out, get Allen some more easy shots, and Brown, let them play off the ball a little bit more. Because when I saw them against Elbert County, this is only the GBCA. You can't take a whole lot into it, but Elbert County really exploited them, getting after them with their full court press and their overall pressure defense. So I think that's an area of Forest Park. If they can get a solid point guard in there, I think they have a chance to go very deep. And Woodward Academy, you're talking about Sydney Bowles, scored over 2,000 points in her career. She's at Texas A&M now. She is gone. Now they still have a really good player that's going to George Washington that's going to lead the team in scoring now. And Sarah Lewis averaged over 14 points per game. But they have a bunch of sophomores that are going to have to play really big roles. Cameron Herring, Kayla Whitner, Delaney Cooper, all three are sophomores, very talented sophomores, but they're going to be thrust into being the second, third, fourth leading scorers for this team. And then we already talked about Lovejoy, Forest Park, Woodward, and then Rockdale we touched on as well. So that's a really, really tough region for sure. I think when it comes down to Forest Park, it's finding guard play to kind of alleviate that pressure off Allen and off Jones, I believe it is, or Brown, sorry, as their two best guards in the backcourt.
Yeah, and I saw Brunswick a little bit this summer at the Live. They got pretty good size.
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with a lot of the girls, but I was a little impressed with them, especially how big they were, and they were really physical.
Yeah, Shanae Jackson, I believe it is. Shanae Jackson averaged about 11 points, 9 rebounds. Shemaiah Flanders is about 5'11", great length, usually has very bright hair, pink, yellow, whatever it is, but she can really kill you from the high post, just rip and go and get downhill, and, of course, hurt you on the glass as well. And I saw we had a comment about Langston Hughes. Langston Hughes is very good, as I wrote in my my preseason write-up. Langston Hughes has a shot to really go up. With Savannah Robinson-Holmes transferring in, she's looked great all off season. Michaela Taylor was a high profile freshman that got hurt last year, has not played a game. I have still not seen her play. She did not play with them in the GBCA, but she's about 6'3", and she was supposed to be a really, really big deal. So if she's healthy, she can immediately provide a major interior presence to go alongside a couple other girls at Langston Hughes. Sydney Smith should be back. Kyla Green was an all-region pick last year. And Michelle Bassong averaged 18 points and 4 rebounds per game at Creekside, a transfer that's about 5'10" that moves in. So Langston Hughes, they have some length. that had that size inside if Taylor is healthy. And I believe Mallory Holmes is a senior that's about 6'1". So Langston Hughes has a lot of pieces, but I think it's going to start with Savannah Robinson Holmes really being the girl that gets this team going. Dangerous score from all three levels. Was good last year at Mount Vernon Presbyterian. I think she has a chance to really lead this team far.
Well, that sounds like another classification. Need to keep our eye on. Good
They're
girl,
all good.
good girl
Yeah, they're all
basketball.
good.
Yeah,
Great basketball in Georgia.
Oh yeah. I'm learning some more new names and everything.
Excellent.
Charles, you muted.
My bad. Well, I know I didn't. I was trying to figure out.
It down.
I was trying to find who Mike had a echo. My mic had an echo.
Well, we at the last classification.
Oh my gosh! Yeah.
7A.
So I will say these 7A rankings they changed about 2 or 3 days before this poll came out with an injury that dropped the team that was going to be ranked number 3 in the state, dropped them out of the poll after a season-ending injury. So if you see I won't necessarily name who the team is, but if you're in the know, you know what team is missing, what team was really good last year and was supposed to be very good again this year. But when you lose your best player, that really hurts. Now they could earn their way back into it, but again, I got to see it to believe it. I need to see how they come together and fill in those voids of losing a top player. But the top team in the state from that same region, Region 4, which is very, very tough, is Brookwood. And we talked about Diana Collins earlier in the broadcast, going to Ohio State, just so good, over 20 points per game, creates for her teammates. They got Weathersby, Jade Weathersby, transfers in, going to UAB, a big post presence that averaged about 20 points and 12 rebounds per game or so at Parkview after she moved in from Colorado a season ago. So she's really good as well. I just think this Brookwood team has a lot of pieces, especially considering those two. You got Danielle Osho, who is not necessarily a household name yet, but that is a burgeoning, that 6'1" sophomore forward that will shoot the three, blocks a lot of shots, runs really well, can score inside. I think she has a chance to be really special and looks like a D1 player in the future. And then lastly, they did get another transfer from Redan and Kennedy. Let's see here. Kennedy Daniels from Redan, who played at the Hype South Invitational last year, if I'm not mistaken. But she averaged 15 points per game at Redan. So they'll be tough.
Did she transfer?
She transferred from Redan to Brookwood this year. So that's, Redan was a tough team last year. I know they got beat by about 50 by Lumpkin County, but she actually led Redan in scoring last year, not Jayla Cook. It was actually Kennedy Daniels led the team in scoring at 15 points per game last year. And she is a good three-point shooter. So you add her alongside Diana Collins and that ability to throw the ball into Weathersby and play inside out. There's a lot of pieces there for the Broncos to work with.
Okay, go ahead, Ted.
No, go ahead. Wait, I was just saying.
It seems like, man, Carrollton is always interesting. They're always right there, but can never seem to get over the hump. I think year before last, they ran into Westlake in the state championship. I was there. Don't really know what happened to them last year, but I saw them this summer, and man, they just look always tough to me, man. They just always look tough. So what? I don't know what it's going to take for them to get over the hump, but that's a team that always scrappy, plays hard, very well coached, athletic. Seems like they have all the pieces, but they just can't get over the hump.
Yeah, injuries have hurt them. Like in that Westlake game, like you mentioned, the state championship, they were down, 6-7 points. Like they were within striking distance, but Kende Abasoy hurt her shoulder, I think dislocated it, and then, they got outscored by 10, 12 points after that, lost by, 12, 13, 14 points. But that was then. But this year, Kanijah Daniel, I believe she has committed to Georgia Southern. She tore her ACL, so she's out for the year, who was going to be probably their best player. You were going to pair her with Igosa Abusoye, who's going to Georgia State, a really good point guard, 5'5", really quick, a shooter. So that kind of obviously tempers expectations for Carrollton. They're still going to be really, really good. I saw them in my fall league all throughout the offseason. But that hurts their ceiling some. So they probably could have opened up a little bit higher. But Carrollton does have Madison Reese transferred in from South Paulding, all-region guard. Madison Swint's a good sophomore that does the dirty work inside. But, yeah, that does stink that Daniel is going to miss this season. You look at Archer, team real quick on paper, probably has the most talent in this classification. They got Tanaya McGowan, Courtney Nesbitt, Shanti Bryant supposed to still be there. Mimi Whitehead was an impactful freshman that got a lot of rebounds, played great defense. Kendall Collins was a forward that did a really nice job at about 5'10", but the transfers of Taj Hunter, who averaged 10 points, 6 rebounds, at Stevenson, a really quick off-the-dribble guard that can create her own offense, and then Sanaya Harris, who comes in from Holy Innocents following her dad as a head coach there at Archer. Archer has a ton of talent as well to choose from.
So, Kyle, who just missed?
Yeah, so just missed in Class 7A. I was going back and forth on a couple of these teams. Like Lowndes was, you see them at number 10. That was a late add with a team I had to pull out. But Lowndes, they do have their top 6 players supposed to return from last year's Sweet 16 team. But a couple teams that were on my radar that probably just missed out. I was looking at Campbell. I know Campbell, they graduate a ton. But Campbell's always going to be really good no matter if it's all freshmen or all sophomores. Campbell is always a really good program. I was looking at them. Another team from Region 2, Pebblebrook. They went to the Elite 8 last year. They had a little bit of a good draw, but their top 4 players are supposed to be back as well. So I had an eye on that Pebblebrook team. And, looking at that, those are pretty much the 2 teams I had that I was looking at. And then lastly, of course, Grayson was a team that I was going to have ranked highly, but now I have to kind of see how the pieces fit together now with a different kind of dynamic now with injuries kind of hurting that program heading into the season.
Okay. So, I do, I guess, want to give you an opportunity or for our own sake, maybe some just misses from other classifications.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. You want to go to 6A now?
Yeah, you can. Yeah, we can go back down if you like. However you want to mix it up.
Yeah, let's just go down. So, just looking at my list here in 6A, like a team like Sequoia was on the precipice there, lost in the state championship 54-38 to Lovejoy last year in Class 6A. They lost a significant amount, but they do have Ellie Blatchford, who's a Southern Miss commit, is a really good point guard that stuffs the stat sheet. They have some other nice pieces around her, but they're going to be asked to score more and just be more, more so instead of being the 7th man, you're going to be the 3rd man or 4th man on the team. So that's just going to be a bit of a learning curve. But Sequoia was a team I was definitely looking at. Marist graduates their entire starting 5 that won that state championship game. So it's hard for me to justify putting Marist into the poll. But I know Kim Hickson with that defense, they're just so fundamental. They don't beat themselves. And they have a freshman in Kate Harpering who has high major offers already. Obviously, her dad, Matt Harpering, played at Georgia Tech, played in the NBA and everything. She's a superstar stud. If they had at least 1 or 2 more players left around her, I would think about putting Marist in there. And then one other team, of course, Kawasi touched on it, Veterans was a team that just missed just because I need to see them. I need to see how the freshmen and the rest of this cast of characters kind of gels together. And Valdosta, I did see that. Valdosta in 7A, looking at Valdosta, 17-11 last year. Didn't have enough great big wins last year. I mean, let's pull up what they did in 7A in the first round. I know they lost in the first round. Valdosta was defeated they were in 6A last year, I want to say. Valdosta, they lost by 2 points to Rockdale, who is a really good team. So you got to give them a lot of credit for that. But outside of Cody inside, who's great, 18 points, 14 rebounds per game, and Denver Arnold, who is their second best player, 9 points per game. who else was going to be the factors there. I know Essence is great. She's terrific going to Alabama, and Arnold is a really good second option. But other than that, there was a drop off as far as who's back to be that third leading scorer for Valdosta, if that makes sense. I know Cody's going to get her. She's going to have her 20 and 15 games, and Arnold is a solid option in the backcourt. But who else is going to be there? And they're going to have their opportunities. They're going to be challenging with Lowndes. And I got a text message right before this podcast started that Camden County, keep an eye on Camden County. They got a move in that is supposed to be very, very good from Florida that could change things in Region 1 and Class 7A.
Kyle, do you ever like a team just kind of, I don't know, wears you down, so to speak, or you see them and maybe the numbers aren't adding up or the players, but it's this team has the it factor.
Yeah.
And with them having an it factor, they're always competitive in games or playing tough, playing good teams tough, or pulling out wins and all these type of things. But if you look at it again on paper, it doesn't seem to add up to what they are once they actually get on the court.
Yeah, and I think some of that with having the it factor, I think some of that does have to do with coaching as well. You see some coaches that don't have the horses every single year, but every single year you see them, they're in the hunt. They're winning 20-plus games. It doesn't matter. They might have a Division III kid as their best player, and they're beating routinely Division II and Division I talented teams. And that's important. And that is what I guess you could kind of terminology-wise say as an X factor, that there's a great system in place, and it doesn't matter what the back of the jersey says, but the front of the jersey, like Buford. Buford obviously has had a lot of good talent through the years, tremendous talent. But some of their teams in the recent past, like they weren't just up and down loaded with multiple 4 or 5 Division I girls or whatever like they used to do in the past. It's just that culture and that mindset of execution and working hard and knowing like you can't let down the person next to you or else, that's just not the Buford way. So teams like that, no matter what, who's on the roster, they're going to be very, very tough. So a team like that, I would say, definitely has an it factor. And, of course, that would have to start with someone that builds the culture and a head coach like Gene Durden. So Buford, always, always, always dangerous, and a team that always has an it factor, it feels like. Always very difficult to beat come state tournament time.
Okay, cool.
And I think we're down to 5A now.
5A,
yeah. Looking at teams that just missed the cut. I was looking at Ware County and Statesboro. Both of those teams were at least on my radar in Region 1. As I mentioned earlier, Ware County has everybody back. I really liked a player they had, Rihanna Metika, probably saying that last name wrong, but I think she has a chance to be a really good prospect as about a 6-foot sophomore. Statesboro, their top 2 players are back. I hope I guess the invitation. Yeah, that's right. We need to get some new cities in there. But quickly, another team I had looking at my highlighted teams, Calhoun out of Region 7, a 19-10 team. A season ago, they made it to the Sweet 16. They're the Region Player of the Year, coming back in Bertia Curtis, who's a senior. They have a really good 2 sophomores, and Atha and Dorsey are tough-nosed guards that will defend you. Allie Duke is about a 5'10", 5'11" forward that'll stretch the floor and shoot the 3. So Calhoun was a team that also landed on my radar. And Banneker, they have 9 transfers over the past 2 years. That's a lot of transfers. And they got about a couple more coming in this year. So Banneker, that's a team that I didn't want to put them in the state rankings yet. I want to see, again, when you have so many new faces over the past 2 years, how does that all kind of work together? But I think Banneker has some sneaky talent coming off a 15-11 season. Like I said, 9 transfers in 2 years. I think they're building something over there. So that's a team I got my eye on Banneker.
They getting them in.
Let's see, 4A. Obviously, I always catch a lot of slack, whatever it is, from this program. Hardaway is a team that wanted to be in the top 10 last year, and they were good. I think they're going to be good again this year. They made it to the Sweet 16, a really young team, 19-8 a season ago. 2 really good sophomores, Michaela Johnson and Akila Shelton's got a lot of Division I interest. Sophomore also like Adija Burrell, really impressed me at a prep hoops camp. I know they lost one of their guards, I believe, transferred to Carver, if I'm not mistaken. But Hardaway is a good team. They're in that Region 1 where I think they're going to win that region. I think they should handle that region. I wouldn't say easily, but comfortably. I think Westover could be a team that could give them some problems, but the rest of that region I think is down. So I think Hardaway is a team that will make it into the top 10 quickly if they just handle their business, which I think they're capable of doing. And any other teams in that Class 4A, Walnut Grove was a team that possibly could have made it. I know they had a coaching change right before the season started, so they're kind of a rudderless ship right now, kind of trying to figure out. I know they're going to have a boys assistant, I believe, kind of take over the girls program, but that's a team that has some talent that can win some games in a deep 11-team Region 8. North Hall is a team that has a lot of guards that I think can definitely click. They have a lot of shooters on that team. I believe they will be in the top 10 at some point as well. They just have to really, maneuver their way in that tough region. But Coach Eric Herrick is over there now, his first year on the job after leaving Dawson County, and he's done good stuff. I mean, he's won a lot of games when he was at North Forsyth, and if he can build that culture, which I'm sure he's on the verge of doing right now at North Hall, I think North Hall could be a very dangerous team in Class 4A as well.
Kyle, how often are the rankings updated?
The rankings are updated once the season starts every week. So boys comes out on Sundays, girls come out on Mondays.
Okay.
So that will be a weekly occurrence. And quickly, Class 3A, just trying to look here. 3A was really loaded, as if you recall, there are a lot of good teams. So it kind of filled itself out. But Dawson County, a fifth team out of Region 7 was a team that I was looking at seriously of possibly making it into the top 10, which they could possibly do so later on in the season, a 17-11 team that has a lot of their talent coming back. And any other teams in Class 3. I think Calvary Day, I saw them over the summer. Hannah Kale's going to Georgia College. She's great. I'm interested to see what they do around her. I think Destiny Gadeen did a really good job as a freshman last year, averaged 11 points per game. But Kale doesn't have that running mate. And Michaela Primo, who was, they were dynamic. Both of them averaged 20 points per game last year. I think Calvary Day is still going to be able to run up a really good record in Region 3 because Savannah girls basketball right now it's rebuilding right now. And Hannah Kale is definitely the best player in the city. And I think Calvary Day is going to win a lot of games. So that's a team to look at. And then in Region 1, a few teams. I know I had Monroe ranked, but Doherty and also Thomasville I had an eye on. I think more so Doherty. I really like Jatian Chambers that I saw at the Hype South event last year, and I just saw her in Albany last week when I went down to watch that camp. I like her a lot. And Jacqueline Buchanan's a big girl, 12 points, 6 rebounds a game a season ago. Their top two are back, but the only reason I did not put them in there, top scorers 3, 4, and 5 are graduated. So you kind of got to fill in the roles. And I know a couple of those players that graduated were really athletic and really did a lot of good stuff, especially on the wing.
So in that 3A with Doherty, I got him matched. I got him again this year. I got him matched up against Mary Persons, who's also 3A. I think they might be a team to kind of just peek at a little bit as far as I think they could possibly scratch the top 10.
Really?
They're in a new region. I think some teams left, but they stayed. But they returned pretty much everything, and they went to the state playoffs last year I think they went from 2 wins to 15 wins or something like that. Finished 4th in the region, but I think there'll be a team to kind of keep an eye on in 3A.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
So we are down to 2A. We're almost there, everybody. 2A, just looking at this, North Cobb Christian. North Cobb Christian is definitely a team that I think they should get there. I think they definitely have enough talent. Brooke Moore has multiple Division I offers, a 6-foot wing that should be the best player on the floor pretty much every time she steps out on the court, a walking triple-double threat, just having her play an aggressive style, really sometimes you don't want a kid to, you tell people don't force the issue, but when it's your best player, sometimes just say, hey, if you make a mistake or take a bad shot here and there, I'd rather you take that shot than someone else. So she's really good. Keep it wiping his mouth. But
I know something about that.
talk to me.
Hey, green light.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just who I was. Green light.
Yeah. And we're talking about a player that's
Hey, Kyle, when you get off, this is probably a topic later. You get a chance to talk to KP about his cruise and playing with his son, ask him about the green light.
oh gosh.
That was green light. The wind was blowing, but that's a whole nother topic.
We'll have
No need to dive into that area. Let's back to you, Kyle.
Oh gosh. But no, just North Cobb Christian, Brooke Moore, Gabby Lepresti's improving every year. Alexis Healy's a really good lefty 3-point shooter. Addie English is a big body that moved in. Wilson is a coach's daughter. So that they have a good team. They're going to be battling at Mount Perrin in there. But the rest of that region, I mean, you're looking at North Cobb Christian, Mount Perrin. They're going to be competing for that region title. I don't see anyone else really challenging them. So North Cobb Christian should rack up a really nice record. So that's a team just missed out. And a couple other ones. Thompson was a team I was thinking about heavily in Region 4 over there in that CSRA area. They lose their number 2 scorer, but Jada Kendrick's a sophomore that averaged over 12 points per game. They had another sophomore named Lattimore. That was good. A Sweet 16 team. 16-8. That's another team I had on the list. And East Jackson, 23-4 a season ago out of Region 8, which proved to be a not super strong region. They're super, super small. I saw them in the summer a lot. They really got hurt by any type of post presence. But Antonio Pittman is super quick. She goes right up and down the floor, all about getting to the basket. And Rakestraw is another good player as well. So East Jackson, super, super, super tiny, but if they can dictate the tempo, play at their pace, turn you over, and get into transition, East Jackson, a 23-win team a season ago, could be a team that makes it into the top 10 at some point this year.
Yes. I saw that. I actually went and scouted that team last year.
Really?
They were very quick. So I know what you mean.
Yeah, for sure.
Dr. Love, don't be a hater.
No, green light. Here we go. We got Class 1A, Division 1. Looking down this list, Claxton was a team I was flirting with in Region 3. You already have Bryan County ranked, Scriven, and then Woodville Tompkins. Claxton actually beat one of these teams 3 times last year. Claxton beat Bryan County 3 times last year. Now, Claxton's a little bit different. They lose their 3rd and 5th best options, but Nia Smith is supposed to be back, about a 5'11", 5'10" forward. I saw average close to a double-double, and they got a couple other good pieces. So Claxton could be a dangerous team. Looking at everyone else here, Darlington's always good. Guard play is going to be different this year. They had a couple girls graduate, a couple girls transfer out, but Jai Johnson's a really good 5'11" strong forward. Georgiana Dempsey has a lot of Division III looks and offers. She's more of like a wing type player, but she'll be very important. And Darlington, always super strong. They're always in the weight room over there up in Rome. Like, that's just a physical, strong bodied team that can really bully you inside. So Darlington could be a dangerous team. And a team I did have highlighted, Prince Avenue, who we had a watcher mention them earlier. I think that's a team 13-9 a season ago. They made it to the first round. 2 all-region players back and a junior Vandegrift, and then sophomore Lily Purcell, who came to my camp. So they have some talented pieces. I was looking at them. And Oglethorpe County, a team I mentioned, Kenzie Henderson. I think she might have won a state championship in high jump or something like that, but she's about 6 foot tall, a sophomore, averaged about 19 points and 14 rebounds per game as a freshman a year ago. So that's another team I had on my radar. Cool. All right, last classification, Division II, quick teams that just missed out. Let me see if anyone pops out to me. Hancock Central I had in there initially, but Neela Lamar was going to be like their leading returning scorer at 10 points per game, a sophomore. She transferred to Greenbrier, which helps out Greenbrier. in one of those higher classifications we mentioned. So Hancock Central, they lose their top returning leading scorer. That took them out of the running. And a team that I did have underlined here, Randolph Clay, 14-9 a season ago, a first round exit. But they do have their second, third, fourth, fifth, and seventh leading scorers back. So there is some cohesion, some chemistry, some continuity coming back for a Randolph Clay team that was 14-9 last year. That's it, everybody.
Sounds good. Sounds good. Sounds good. What's your guys' thoughts?
Rankings don't equal rings.
That's right.
So I'm gonna ask Waste. With y'all being ranked, all right, pretty high for the preseason, that's put any additional pressure on you as a team?
I don't think for us, no. I know I do know it's a lot different being hunted than the hunter. But for us, we're gonna keep on going business as usual. Still gonna come out with a chip. You know what I'm saying? We always preaching to the girls about just respecting the game and playing hard, playing the right way, stuff like that. So it's gonna be no added pressure. We won't allow them to get big headed, so to speak. So we just gonna keep it business like we normally do, and that's it. We'll see where the chip fall.
Yeah. I talked to Coach T earlier, and she was
shout out to Coach T though. Coach T,
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, this the last day that the season officially starts tomorrow with tries and stuff. So this will be my last day seeing the nice Coach T.
She was awful nice over the summer. I have to say she was awful nice over the summer.
But when that season starts, man, y'all don't have to deal with it. See. But shout out to Coach T though, man. Shout out to Coach T.
Oh yeah, but no, she was kind of just saying along those same things. Like, yeah, so nothing changes, right? The mentality for where you guys want to get to, nothing changes. So it's just going in that direction. So I guess it's a compliment to be acknowledged, right? But now the real work comes in.
Right. Nothing changes, man. Like I said, it's all business. And every year the goal is state championship.
Right.
We haven't accomplished yet, but we've been knocking a few times, and we feel real good about our chances. So we just 4.3 mentality.
4.3.
Yeah, what's that mean? I've been seeing that. What's 4.3 mean?
Stay tuned.
Don't tell me. I don't need to know.
Stay tuned.
Okay.
4.3. Kyle, you want to take this question?
As far as boarding schools, I don't necessarily know boarding schools, but private schools, like in 6A, you've seen St. Pius has jumped up to 6A, Marist has jumped up to 6A, Woodward Academy jumped up to 6A. Just looking, that might be it as far as private schools. I think that's it as far as private schools in 6A. None. And Blessed Trinity in 6A as well, but none in 7A. I don't believe. Looking at everything,
Buford. What is Buford? Is that considered? That ain't considered private, is it?
Buford's a city school.
City school. Okay.
So you got Buford, like Cartersville's a city school. Jefferson's a city school, which they have their own advantages as well. And they get punished with the kids out of area, whatever the multiplier effect and all that stuff. That's why you see some of these schools going up, like Buford in 7A now for the first time when they were just 1A, years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why they've been on the climb.
How does that play into your rankings or your formula when teams are moving up or moving down or whatever the case may be?
It just depends on the landscape. Sometimes moving up is great for you. If you're in a really tough classification and you move up a class that's, I don't want to say a barren wasteland, but just a much easier field for you, that plays a huge role. It really just depends on what's happening. Like some of these schools, I could probably pull it up. I don't want to bore you with looking at this, but Sometimes you move up, like Holy Innocents last year and Class A private. Now, maybe this year's not a great example because it is a really tough classification, it feels like, at the very top. But Holy Innocents, they'd had to go through St. Francis and Wesleyan and Hebron and, all these great private schools that you have to deal with. And now you're up there on a typical, usual year. Holy Innocents is going to be loaded, and they're going to be playing against other public schools that just aren't able to really bring in kids like a private school per se is usually able to. So sometimes moving up, it sounds bad, but other times if you take a step back and kind of really look, it's like, wow, that's not that bad. Like if you look at Holy Innocents' region compared to what it was last year, like they're in there with, Southwest DeKalb is ranked in the top 10, Westminster's ranked in the top 10, but the rest of that, like Hapeville Charter, they were 1-18 last year. Druid Hills 13-13, Clarkston 7-19, and those, like a 7-19 team in that compared to a 7-19 private school team, that private school team maybe would probably be a little bit tougher because out of those 19 losses, you're playing those juggernaut other private schools. So if you stick that team, if they were just able to get out of that private school region and go up to just a random region and maybe 3A or 4A, they could do a lot better. So it just determines, just based on what the rest of the classification looks like. Like just saying you're going up isn't necessarily a death sentence. Sometimes that's a saving grace.
Yeah. And I and this just came to me, but I think it's important to point out as well, you're biased through this whole process.
My bias to this whole process.
You don't have a bias
No.
Right?
Yeah, I try not to. Trust me, no. Because once you start trying to curry too much favor to friends and this and the other. Kawasi, I didn't rank you number 3 because I love you, baby. I did it because the Lady Chargers, I think, are a legitimate team this year based on everything I see in the classification. Because once you start doing that for, hey, rank me here just for this, and that, I can't do that. I can't do that because that just loses so much credibility, I feel like. So if anything, I got to go the other way.
Yeah. So again, these are all points I think that are important to point out. All right. So people may have formulated their own thoughts, opinions, or he doesn't like us, this, that, and the third. But these are not going in any personal feelings. This is what you're seeing, and you're making a determination based on the information you receive.
That is correct. Yes, sir, Mr. Plummer. Yes, sir.
So, all right, man. Well, what else y'all guys got for Kyle?
Man, I just appreciate him coming on, doing his thing.
Yes, sir, man. I just want to say, man, I'm kind of in that realm of covering a little bit, so I know what you go through, man. I always tell you, man, good job. We appreciate it, and we here for you, no matter what they say.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We got your back. We got your back.
Much appreciated, you guys. Much appreciated.
Yes, sir.
Charles, you trying to say something?
Man, that joke with Mike, I don't know what's going on with it, Mike. It's something going on. Now you froze.
Yeah. Hey, I did see. I did. So we did have one last question in the chat asking about the private schools. Private schools are not supposed to recruit.
Test.
Oh, there it is.
There you go, Charles.
But theoretically speaking, when you're talking about like a school in a very small rural area against an Atlanta private school where you have many more resources, many more kids that theoretically pull from, they're going to have a better chance. Like going back to like the Class A private or Class 1A Division I, where there's public schools with Galloway and St. Francis mixed in there. Like in the past, public schools have not fared very well against private schools. Like there was this Pelham team that won a state title maybe 6 years ago by now.
Mm-hmm.
They were dang good, but they would always run into like Holy Innocents in the Final Four, whoever it was in the Final Four, and get beat, and only get beat by like 10 or 12 points. But every other public school, when they were mixed in with those private schools, they would get slaughtered by 30, 40 points, and they would have no prayer at all. And that's just something I'm worried about coming back to fruition this year. And to finish that Pelham story, the next year they finally got rid of the public and private schools together, they were able to separate. And the 1 year Pelham was not jumbled in with all the private schools. They obviously went on to win a state championship. You about to get a lot. Oh boy, that's the girl I signed up for.
Teflon, let it bounce off you, man.
Yes, sir. But yeah,
that's what we do.
Yeah, that's all we can do, right?
That's it. But yeah, Kyle, man, we appreciate you coming on, giving us the breakdown, giving us the inside track of what's going on, letting people know. I think it was an informative conversation as well. Because a lot of times I don't think people really understand everything that goes into it and the time and the due diligence that you give this process. So I think it was good for people to be able to hear that and get that information out.
Yes, thank you. Sorry for hijacking the show from you guys tonight.
Nah.
If you didn't hijack the show, Charles was just going to get mad at us about something anyway. So
Man, y'all got me out here like I'm the angry man from Martin.
Oh
yeah. We talked about Norcross. Norcross was talked about.
Talking about boys, girls have a bunch of transfers that moved in this year. Janiyah Akins is our best player coming back. They have 3 or 4 transfers that moved in. Tallulah Falls, point guard, moved in. Brane Charlton, if she's eligible, she's really quick, really good playmaker. They have 2 girls that came in from Mountain View that provide length in the front court. What's her name? Kayla Lindsay, is that the correct name? I believe she played some big minutes last year. She's going to be a senior. And, of course, they have another Shania Farmer, I think her name is, from Duluth, transferred in. I think she has some good upside as a 6-foot junior. So Norcross, they have a lot of transfers that moved in to kind of keep them in that relevancy for winning a potential another state title, but replacing Zaria Hurston, who's at DePaul now, who was, I believe, the Class 7A Player of the Year last season. She was terrific all season long, a walking double-double. She's going to be very difficult to replace, but if all those transfers are eligible, they will have good length in the front court again, along with a quick guard, and then they're going to have some other players that came off the bench last year to fulfill some roles and some voids that were left via graduation from last year's state championship team.
There it is.
I got a chance to see him against Warner Robins at the live period. I'm not familiar with Norcross. I think it came all the way down to I think Nevaeh Mack hit a game winner or something like down at the buzzer or something. If I'm not mistaken. They were long. They were pretty big. Had one or 2 girls that could shoot the 3 really good. But like I said, I wasn't familiar with names, but they did look solid.
Yeah, and the thing is with that, and that was back in June, right? Like some of these teams are much different now with transfers coming in or injuries not going to be there. So I don't even know if they had I'm pretty sure they did not have a lot of those girls I just mentioned or whatever. If I said their names, I know the Mountain View, this and the other, but I think a lot of those girls weren't even with the team back then. So they're going to even look a lot different from what we saw, 4 months ago. And that's just the nature of the beast, especially near a transitory area like Gwinnett County. Kids come and go left and right.
Kyle, I did want to ask you about Marietta High School. Did we talk about them?
We did not.
So I just remember them coming down to the event last year as well. And I believe the year before, were they coming off a state championship or?
They were coming off a state championship when they played in the event last year.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So what is kind of their outlook this year?
They are in major rebuild mode. They are going to be really good in maybe 3 years or so. Coach DeWitt's daughter, Leah DeWitt, is really good. They played in my fall league at East Paulding this offseason, and they were playing against varsity teams with all 2028, 2027 girls. Now, they didn't win a ton of games, but they competed. But this Marietta team, it's going to probably be a while before you see them really contending. But that is a really good team. I'll list off the names. Leah DeWitt, a 2028 guard that's going to be a Division I player if everything goes according to plan. Kayla Day is their primary player that's coming back. That's a junior, a 5'6" junior. So she's their most experienced player. But a lot of good 2027s. Addison Branch is 5'10". Kaylee Wang is a guard. They have a lot of players to choose from. Tracy Wakefield, 2028, but they're a few years away from making some noise at the varsity level. But when that 2027, 2028 core gets there, they're going to be really, really good.
My man Sandy is tapped in, y'all. He tapped in. He tapped in, man. Come on,
KP,
man.
I already got ahead of the game. I hit up Coach DeWitt last year. I said, hey, look, I already know you're rebuilding, but I saw your daughters because he has another daughter.
Yeah.
She's a little younger, but she should be coming right behind.
Yeah, not too sure.
But that middle school group, man, I mean, talented. And so I told him, I said, hey, I need you down here in 2027, 2028.
It's just it's amazing. Like they put in that folly. Like I said, they took their lumps, but that's you're freaking like 10, well, not 10, but like 12 years old, 13, 11, 12 years old, and you're playing against 17, 18-year-old girls, and you're not winning, but you're holding your own. That's only going to make you better. That's incredible.
That Leah, she can play. She can play.
She was legit. She was an all-league performer, maybe all-league third team. She's good.
Yeah. Yep.
Sandy's
GHSA.
Hey, man.
GSA state rankings, correct?
That's it.
Hey, Kyle, I got
see, Kyle? See what we're talking about? I don't know, but Charles was about to make it up.
You start hollering, nigga.
Oh, my mic must be too loud. My bad, Kyle. Sandy. You felt like I was yelling at you, man. But I do have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
So my question is, look, I know you haven't got to the boys ranking, but I'm curious about what you see as far as a 6A. If you had to name 3 teams that and don't rank them, you ain't got to rank them. I'm just curious to see what. Man, what is going on? What did I do? What did I do? I asked one question, and this is. You see how they do? I asked one question, and this is how they do. I think my mic is turned up too loud. Let me turn my mic down.
So, Joe, what did you say? 6A boys.
6A boys.
Yes, 6A. Is that better? What anybody feel like I'm yelling still? Is that better?
No, you already took the bass out.
You're fine.
All right. No. Yeah, 6A boys. No, it doesn't have to be a ranking. It doesn't. Just if you was to name 3 6A boys, who would you say you would be keeping your eye on?
Team-wise.
Yeah.
So obviously Grovetown, defending state champs. A lot of people have them nationally ranked. They have their entire team back. They're going to be. Yeah, they're going to be really good. They're really big. 6'5" guards, 6'7" forwards, 6'10" big men. Like they have a lot of pieces. They're definitely going to be the team to beat. That's not going to be a surprise to see if they open up number 1 in the state. Jonesboro is a good team. They have a lot of pieces. Like you forget about these kids that transferred from Forest Park. That's the thing you got to remember. They had the reigning freshman of the year transferred from Forest Park over there, and they had I think a second team All-State player as a sophomore transfer over to Forest Park. They were both ineligible last year, so they had to sit out. And now you're looking at one being, what is it, like a senior and a junior now. If they can still, if they have gotten better from when they last put in the GHSA, those two are going to be game changers. Devon Rainey is a Miami, Ohio football commit on the wing, average over 15 points per game, and they have a couple other good players as well. So Jonesboro is going to be tough. They had a move-in in Jason Isaac from Elka, who I hear has been really, really good with the program this year, in the offseason at least, and I saw him as well in the summer. He looks very good. So that's a team that's going to be tough. Etowah is a team I wouldn't sleep on them. If they can all piece together, they dropped from 7A to 6A, 16-11 a season ago. They fell to the 4 seed. They faltered in the region tournament, got ousted by Berkmar in the opening round. But Brandon Recksteiner, one of the best point guards in the entire Southeast, going to Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm.
He is back. You have Chase Clemens, who was initially a Nebraska commit. I don't know where he's going to end up going now, but that's a kid that has been a highly touted guard, scoring guard over the course of his career. He just moved back to Etowah, so he'll be playing his first year there as a senior. That's a kid that can fill it up and get you 25, 30 points if he's hot. So you got two guys right there that can go off for 25, 30 points in a blink.
Oh, wow.
You got Mason Eder is a really good 6'5" wing. Brother plays at Georgia, takes a lot of charges, has gotten a lot better scoring the ball off the dribble, and is a good shooter. And then Aiden Weaver is a sophomore at about 6'3", super athletic, brings a bit of an X factor as far as his athleticism. So Etowah, that's a team that's seen the best of the best. They're going to schedule super hard teams throughout the regular season. If they can get hot, those two guards, they can score with anybody in the entire state if they are on. And Brandon Rexsteiner usually is not off. And if he can get help from Clemens and Eder scoring in the backcourt, Etowah can beat a lot of teams this year.
Hey, to piggyback on that first team, that Grovetown. Listen, I don't know if they're the favorite or not, but I think they'll be there in the end. Coach Darren Douglas, he does a great job. Wing players, those guards, man. Listen, Grovetown will have something to say. I think that they are the defending champs, right? 6A.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. That team, I feel like they'll be there to defend their title, man. Coach Douglas does a great job. They're just well coached. So that's my spiel on those three teams you just named. I really like Grovetown, man. Like them.
What's the answer to this back in baby 3? What do you think, Mr. Kawasi?
I'm still tripping off the name.
Kid. Is it best?
Depends on if your kid. It depends on if that kid's gonna fit. Just because he's good, don't mean he can go to a school that's well known and be good.
I think, man. Yeah, I think to each his own. But for me, if it's a homegrown kid, just my opinion, I would probably be more prone to stay put. I've been in a situation where, they was calling and trying to get him to transfer, my son, stuff like that. But I just didn't think it made sense, individually anyway, for him to leave. I love what Upson Lee did a couple years ago with all those homegrown kids, undefeated 2 years in a row, back-to-back state titles. To me, those stories mean more. They mean more. They feel 100%. Better. Yeah, they feel better. And Upson Lee, while I mentioned them, they'll be back. They got had a good middle school group that won a championship, and they're a couple years away, but I think in 2 or 3 years you'll be hearing from them again. Homegrown kids that've been together, and that they'll be named to know in a couple years again. That's the only difference. When you're doing a homegrown, sometimes you have gaps in there versus being there every year. But
you're not supposed to win 25 games every single year. That's not necessarily. There should be ebbs and flows every once in a while. That's
right.
The nature of what it's kind of supposed to be. You can always be good, but you shouldn't lose 2 games every single year. That's hard to do with legitimate homegrown kids. That can't be a 10, 15-year span of winning 30 games a year. That's just not really realistic, I feel like. Yeah. But like I said, it feels better when that time does come. It just feels better, in my opinion. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I'm not a huge proponent of transferring. I always say if you're good enough, you'll probably be seen. And if you're at like a unknown bad school, I mean, no school's unknown when it comes to me. I'm watching all these. That's why I do this stuff, to find the unknown hidden gems. Don't worry about transfer. I'll come find you. Don't worry. With that being said, that's why you always just make sure you get on a solid travel ball team that plays in events where you're going to get a lot of good exposure, where there's media coverage, where you're going to get a lot of playing time. That's another reason where you could use that to say, I don't necessarily have to transfer. I'll just You know, a lot of kids get recruited off their travel ball circuit stuff anyway, because all the coaches are sitting there. They're not going to one game on one night on one Saturday to watch one kid. They sit there for all day and they see 10, 15, whatever games a day. So that's really important if you're at a small unknown school. Just make sure you really, put emphasis on finding that right travel ball program, and that can really lessen the need to transfer to a well-known school, I would think.
Right. Kyle, speaking of that, man, you do an amazing job of providing exposure and coverage for these kids, going out and finding those own gyms. So that's one of the things you do well. We applaud you for that, man. So actually there's and just speaking as you guys haven't seen, there will be a media day for the house and county. You like that segue, KP?
I do. I was wondering where you were going with this. I was like, well, he lowered his tone, so maybe he's being nice to Kyle now.
Yes. How you doing?
But I like the transition.
But
you were walking it back a little bit.
Hey, I turned my mic down, man. My mic was all the way up. But anyway, so there'll be a House and County Media Day Saturday, November 5th. It'll be live streamed through cash streaming. So trying to provide some awareness of what's going on with the basketball in the area. We'll have boys and girls at the event. Tat, you want to kind of speak on it as well? I know played it. Go ahead, KP.
Before Tat speaks on it, this is not an in-person event, so it's going to be live stream. So it'll be held at Warner Robins, but don't come to Warner Robins unless you're invited. And it should only be the coaches and maybe a few players. But this isn't a come over. This is going to be a live stream event. Go ahead, Tat.
If you come over, you're going to get charged to come in the gym, $10.
Sure.
I'm just playing.
Nah, man. I actually talked to Wasey about this because Wasey has done this before. He's held media days before, and I actually ran it by him first, man. What you think? This is the first one for our county. To do this, and we thought it was, be a good idea. So here it is. We, trying to get more coverage, more exposure for our county, and our region here in Middle Georgia, and this one of the things that we that we can try to contribute to help push it, move it forward.
Definitely looking forward to it, man. Like you said, Tat, so the first time doing something like this for Houston County. Of course, Wasey has already done this before, so kind of following in his footsteps, giving us kind of the blueprint on how to make it happen. But it's just, and as Charles alluded to, it's just another avenue for exposure, and trying to do our part, so to speak. And Kyle, you're more than welcome to come down for this if you don't have anything going on.
Thank you. I'll have to check with the missus, see what she's got going on. November 5th, right?
November 5th.
Yep.
Hey, when I did it, I remember calling Kyle and kind of picking his brain about it because I was actually seeing when he was doing them up in I don't know, it was a Gwinnett area.
Yeah, Gwinnett always has them. They just had theirs this week. Yeah.
Well, he was covering it up there, and at the time we didn't have it in this area, so I actually called him, picked his brain a little bit, and we made it happen. I haven't had it in a couple of years, but it's good that y'all are doing that. I think it's great. Like you said, great exposure. Way to get excited about the season and stuff like that. And Bibb County, they had one last year. I know they'll have one this year. I'm not sure the date. So when I started, seeing people start to kind of, doing it, I didn't think, I thought that I could step back and just support. But yeah, man, I'm all for it. I'll be there. I'll be covering it and stuff like that. Houston County as well as Bibb County. So good job, everybody.
Yeah. So looking forward to it. Honestly, just looking forward to the season kicking off. I think it's going to be a a heck of a basketball season, high school basketball season this year. For the knowns and for the unknowns, I think it's just going to be very competitive. I think because of camps, because of travel ball, because of all these things that have kind of come into play now, kids are playing basketball more and getting
Wait,
more
wait,
work in.
KP. Some of these kids just picked up a basketball today, getting ready for trials
Well,
tomorrow.
some of you're right. Some of them did. Some of them did, and it's gonna show. And then what's that? They're gonna be slept on. They're gonna be hated on.
Because they ain't play with this team and they didn't do this and all of those excuses is fixing to come.
Crashing through.
Yeah, but anyway, I ain't mean my bad, KP. I ain't mean
No, but that's 100% right. Yeah. So I was gonna get to that point. So I would just say, good luck to everybody for tryouts. That's going on starting tomorrow. I hope you're ready. And then there you go. There you go.
So good stuff, man. So yeah, we got a comment. We do got a comment. Yeah, do we find a Jim's idea who that kid is, Sammy Pissy? I don't want to say it persists. Was until Kyle. So
yeah, Trinity Christian, right? French. He's got a younger brother that is. I thought he was a year older. I don't know. I guess he's like a sophomore now, but I think his younger brother's Alex. He's supposed to be pretty good as well.
That's another thing. Good point, Dr. Love. Training is good. Don't get us wrong. But you gotta, them cones don't move.
Unless you kick them or bounce the ball on them.
yeah, I seen a clip. I think it was on IG of a young. It was a trainer telling a young kid that he was overtrained. Like, I need you to play basketball. Everything's not a drill.
Oh, that was
y'all seen that clip.
I seen that. That was John Lucas.
Was that John Lucas? Oh yeah.
Yeah, he said you went into this move just because it's a training move. It wasn't even time to use that move. Yeah. He got upset about it. He was pretty adamant, like, you're training too much and you're not playing.
Yeah. So you see that. So I'm not gonna keep you because Kyle, this is where I do get amped up and get passionate. This is where they.
This is normally when he gets mad at us, Kyle.
Oh, no.
I don't be mad. I don't be mad.
I'm
never mad.
Kyle was not mad at us last week.
No. So here's the thing. So I'm gonna be honest. Like, ain't nobody gonna tell me how I think, what I'm thinking, and if somebody ain't explaining something what they think, you can't explain to me what they think. They gotta explain it. I just won't accept it. So we was having a misunderstanding. Yeah.
We let you work through it though. I mean, we told you what it was.
No, just all good, man. Just misunderstanding, miscommunication. I just needed you to say he's trying to tell me, and I wouldn't accept it.
They're gonna test right there. You've been watching the whole show. Don't want to say nothing because they don't want to get their bit off.
No, man. I'm coming up there to get a haircut. So we can have a conversation.
Can I ask Mr. Kawasi a question? He does not have to answer because he may have a dog in the hunt. But I know I've asked you personally if you had to pick your top 5 girls basketball teams in Middle Georgia. Do you know who those top 5 would be? Would you be willing to put them in order, or would you just say them, or you wanna stay tight-lipped? Because I respect either way you go with this question.
No, I can give you 5, but I wouldn't say an order. I wouldn't give an order, but I can give you 5 teams who I think make a case, can make an argument for that. So I'll go with the obvious ones we've been talking about: with Warner Robins, Baldwin, Veterans, Central. Then you can go Dodge or Northeast Macon, You know, Jones County will be sneaky. They'll have something to say. So you know, I know I gave you more than 5, but
Mayor
no
person.
order. Mayor person, yeah. We got, like you say, it's up. Girls basketball is up in this area. So there are good 7 or 8 teams who can all make a claim for the top 5, and like I said, I think the order can flip depending on what time of year it is.
That makes sense.
Yeah, man. And the good thing about it, I was telling somebody, a lot of them we're in like different classifications, so it has a chance for Middle Georgia to bring home some state
It
championships.
could be like last year with Augusta, you know.
Yep. So, and the good thing about it, for the most part, everybody plays each other too.
That's good. I like that.
Some good measuring stick. Yep. Good question.
So, Brother Kyle, we're going to go ahead and get you off the screen, man. We appreciate you coming on. We appreciate all the good stuff that you're doing out there. When the boys drop, are you coming back?
Yeah, hey, if you guys want me, I'm sure that the comments will be going crazy for that. Maybe I shouldn't come back on. But yeah, if you guys want me, I should be able to make it out here.
Yeah, no. So do you know when that may happen?
That will be next Sunday. Boys come out a week from now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I got to hope these transfers stop happening and I can kind of figure out what to do.
Right.
All these teams. But, yeah, so I put pen to paper.
There it is. Well, let's figure it out. We would love to have you back on, man, to chop it up and kind of go through them like we did today. Again, I think this was very informational for people out there to understand what this process looks like, understand what it means. It doesn't mean. What does your shirt say, Kyle?
Rankings don't equal rings. TammySpiel.etsy.com. Go and get you one. If you hate my rankings, rep it and say I don't know anything. That's fine with me. Don't equal rings. Trust me, that is no truer statement has been told.
Kyle, you see that?
I have no idea how I became the angry dude on this show. I know this baffles me. But, hey, I'll accept it, embrace it. I'll be the angry guy.
No, all good, man. But like I said, Kyle, we appreciate you, brother. And yeah, let's figure it out for next week, and then we go from there.
All right. Thanks, you guys. I appreciate it.
All right, man. Have a good week.
Thank you. We appreciate
Good night, man. Have a good night.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Hey, man. Y'all can just call me Samuel Jackson from here on out. I'll be him. Just call me SL.
No, it ain't us. It's the people.
Right.
People have spoken.
I'm just saying.
Wait, man. And then let's talk about Bruce. I'm a veterans hater. Like, man, where did man get that from?
Like KP said, the people have spoken. You ain't no exception, Tat. This shit because the Commanders won it.
Hey, we done won 2 in a row, Dr. Love. Don't do that. Discount double check.
Hey, man. Look at that, man. Look at Hey, man. My boy, man. My boy shoot bad, man.
Yeah,
Wait, they said your boy snapped off on somebody, a reporter or something.
Man, he always just.
So if y'all had Devontae Adams, would the world be different right now?
Maybe a game or so. I don't know, man. Hey, double check. He just angry and took all the money. Now we can't. I mean,
he just old and angry right now.
He got all the money and can't get. They mad with everybody because we can't get nobody.
Yeah. So all money ain't good money.
All money ain't good money. Him and Tom Brady both going through this thing, ain't it?
It might be over with.
Yeah.
I think it's over with for Brady. But you lost to the Panthers, and it just traded.
Nah, this go for 3 points.
Yeah, bro. So that's
Where they played at Carolina or
Carolina.
and who the quarterback in Carolina?
Ain't no telling.
I don't know.
Tatnam got a good luck charm. That's why they won today.
How?
Who y'all signed?
Man, please don't do that. Do not do that. Nah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Oh.
Don't do that. I will show out on here now. Don't do that. No.
We had a bye today, so Stafford didn't. I'm a Rams fan, so Stafford didn't play today.
Don't do that.
He played well.
That Joker didn't even dress out. Don't do that.
Who?
Joe didn't even dress out on the home game. So
Hey,
don't do that.
Talking about wins.
They signed.
Nah, don't do that.
Yeah, what to say?
Who y'all signed?
Oh man, Ed Kenny, he got his own.
Who they signed, KP?
Man, please.
Huh?
He say who they signed.
Charles, you know who they signed.
Oh, I don't even
They
know.
signed a quarterback.
You talking about Washington Commanders?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I'll tell you.
You know how I say it. Say it. Nah, that ain't the reason what that. Nah, he ain't nowhere near. No, he ain't nowhere near no good luck charm. Man,
Oh yeah, Stafford. Nah, Stafford been playing. Yeah. He ain't got nobody to throw to, man. He ain't got nobody but cut. We gotta fix that.
So where's Odell going? Is Odell going to be this huge whatever that they think he is?
Odell just signed with who he just signed with?
He signed with the Ravens?
No, I think it was KC.
Oh, he signed with Kansas City?
Yeah, I think he gonna sign with Kansas City. Well, they taking a strong look at it. I think it's over for Rodgers, Brady, and LeBron. Dang, Bruce. But you can't put. So here's the thing. You can't put.
So Bruce, let me say that.
Bruce, you can't put.
Let me say that. Let me say that.
Oh.
Let me say that before I get out of here. I'm sorry. Bruce, you trying to pick at me or something, man?
No, he like that all the time.
No. It seems like he trying. It seems like he must. Come on, Bruce. Come in. Tell me what you trying to get at.
Yeah, Bruce, what you trying to get?
What you trying to get? You trying to? You must know.
Them all your teams, eh?
You must know something about me.
Man, Bruce, I'm a veteran hater. Yeah, Bruce got.
Hey, look, who Bruce like?
That what I want. He like veterans.
Pittsburgh.
Oh, that look, bro. That's why I wasted.
Oh, okay. I knew Okay, I knew that. That's why. Cause you put 2 football players and then name LeBron. So I'm like, hold on, man. That don't go together right now. Bruce, you know what? I ain't gonna take the bait. It's been a good show. I ain't finna run my blood pressure up. All I say is y'all see what's going on. That's all I'm gonna say. If y'all got eyes, then ain't nothing I need to say.
And Tad, tell you, Waste, I called this a year ago when they signed that joke. Did I not tell you?
Man.
Nope.
Man, I listen.
I got receipts that
what he out there doing now almost look intentional.
Man, yeah, I know, man. He trying to force his way out.
So
no, he trying to sabotage them boys, man.
Yeah,
so
man,
the commissioner was saying that there's some tanking going on trying to get this kid's Winnipeg.
Man,
I don't believe it's tanking. I think Westbrook just
man, they need to just
send him home.
Just cut that joker, man. Just send him to the high, man. Take your money and you go down to the swap meet and do whatever you want to do, man. Get out the way, man. Go to UCLA and train and man, go play somewhere else.
I'll say this. It is impacting. It is impacting.
Y'all love that Westbrook signing, as I recall. Y'all love
Westbrook
hard. Westbrook coming in. Westbrook gonna do this. Westbrook gonna do that.
Who are y'all?
Like,
who's y'all?
I
don't think that was you, Waste, but I know these two right here. They like the Westbrook signing.
I
said
like
they should
the
have got
Westbrook
Buddy
signing.
Hill.
I
I
listen,
You
said
did say
they
that,
should have
Charles,
got.
but you didn't say that Westbrook was
listen.
going to work out. You now, Charles, I'll give you that. You said Buddy Hill, but Westbrook ain't that bad, KP.
Nah,
Man.
We're going to
Nah,
the
hey,
tape.
I think he do nothing stupid like what he doing now, man. I mean,
Nah,
that's it. Go ahead, wait.
it's intentional, man. It's on
man.
purpose. He doing this on purpose, man.
And
He can't be that bad.
Man, Darvin Ham got to put his foot down. Ain't no way in the world this joke gonna tell me, oh, that's why my hamstring hurt because I came off the bench. Man, please. I said, man, well, I tell you what, go in the locker room and get on that training bicycle until I tell you to come out. And she will be all coming in at the same time when he get ready to come back in.
Right, but y'all gave my boy Melo hell.
Man, Melo ain't did nothing. Melo ain't did nothing since he left Denver.
Hey, that was a big adjustment. Melo was the bad guy.
Melo at
Westbrook
Melo,
say this. No, and people up here defending it.
man,
People defending it.
I don't know who defended it, but Melo right now at Walmart at self-checkout.
Melo making another video right now.
Man, at self-checkout, man,
Let's
right
talk
now.
about Walmart self-checkout. Get it off our chest.
Man, that's
Look, y'all gonna silly, man. Nah, you cool with y'all, man.
Hey, bro, Walmart is a whole show within itself. We can be.
Wait, man, wait say he got to go, man.
All right,
man,
look,
look,
we gonna yeah, Walmart situation is getting horrible.
Hey man, hey Ted, they're coming early though, boy. I like the bus line, man. Man, I'm out of here, man.
All right,
Wait.
Man, listen.
Put that back up.
KP was talking for Julius Randle getting free money. He had
thank you.
Oh, I'm not defending that.
Yeah, man, get all that free money.
Julius Randle turned into a 3-point shooter in the playoffs last year.
Man, listen, if
he wanted to match Trae Young, he was trying to go toe for toe with Trae Young.
If LA don't get AD butt in that paint, man, Bruce.
Yeah, we talked about that, Bruce. Some horrible shots.
But LeBron had 31. 31. In year 20. That man doing this in year 20.
I don't think that's taken away from that, but I mean, so we saying, well, LeBron had 31. Oh well.
No.
I mean,
no.
I'm asking.
He's consistently doing Westbrook average.
And I agree with you. He is consistently doing that.
Westbrook averaged 18 last year. That Joker had 10 today, man. And didn't have no points the game before that.
The game before that, yeah, he missed everything.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, why keep this Joker? And I was one of the main ones fussing about it wasn't his fault.
Yeah, you were.
Now it is his fault. Get rid of this Joker.
Golly.
Yeah, man. I was fussing in group chats, group texts, but it wasn't his fault. And I'm arguing, and this fool just proved me wrong, man. I ain't studying this Joker. And man, on a lighter, brighter note, shout out to my uncle, man.
Oh yeah.
Congratulations to that.
Congratulations.
Man. Yeah, being inducted in
Georgia High School
football.
Okay.
Yeah, the first annual, first class to go in.
Congratulations.
Georgia High School Football Hall of Fame. Went in with some studs, man. Richard Dent and Fran Tarkenton, Champ Bailey, Andre Hastings.
And that's in Macon?
No, it's in Atlanta.
In Atlanta, okay.
Yeah, they had it at the College Football Hall of Fame.
Okay, right downtown.
Yeah, man. So, Ron Simmons, 2 demons. My uncle and Ron Simmons, 2 demons. And Coach Stan Gann, that started Georgia Tech,
right?
Former coach. So, yeah, man, it was a good deal yesterday, man. As like I say, had a lot of studs in there, man. Takeo Spikes, Terrence Edwards, man, David Pollard. Man, it was a bunch of studs in Georgia football that got inducted yesterday.
They ain't gonna pay that $40 million.
Man, they better do something then.
So Ted, what's your expectations for tomorrow? Tryouts, or first practice? What's your expectation? Well, give me your expectation for both.
We always go into trials looking for that one gym, one or two gyms, and we normally find one every single year. We normally find one, so we go in and trials looking for somebody that can actually help the team, help the program. We don't go in just going through the motions, just getting kids out there and let them just do whatever. And yes, exactly. That's exactly who that is. Yes, that's exactly who that is. He's a former Warner Robins Demon, 1976, national champion, state champion. But yeah, we don't go into tryouts, just going through the motions. We actually trying to find a gym that could help the program, that could help us. So like I said, we normally find one, maybe two a year that could possibly help us. And so I'm looking forward to it tomorrow, man. And Coach Gorman narrow that thing down and get this whole process rolling.
Tom, I ask you this, man. What is a tryout? What is a first day or a second day of tryout? So you don't have to get specifics, but just kind of in general, what does that look like?
Sometimes, first of all, you got to have the physicals. That's the main thing. So you got to make sure they got them physicals first. But you stretch and you do some drills, and then you kind of. It depends on how many people you got in there. You got tons of kids in there, so you're gonna add. You're gonna split them up, your 5-man teams, and it's probably gonna look like camp basketball and something. Yeah, sometimes, but it ain't gonna be nothing really structured.
Right.
But you see who can do what, who has the potential of doing what, where a kid can potentially help for what you need, for what you're returning, and you just go from there.
Okay. So it's not one of them. Okay, the first day we're not gonna touch the ball. We're gonna run y'all to death and see who ain't gonna come back tomorrow type of thing.
Or is that more the first practice after you did your cuts?
Nah, not the first practice. We gonna condition and start getting our stuff because you playing within 2 weeks. So
when y'all first preseason game?
November the 10th.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's 10th and 11th.
Yeah, so you almost having tryouts and then you go in installing.
Right into it.
Yeah. Is Ron Simmons top 3 football player out of Warner Robins? Out of Warner Robins. I would have to say yes. I would have to say yes. He's probably top 3 out of Warner Robins. I would definitely have to say that. Yes. Now he wouldn't be number 1 because I'm biased. Yeah, I'm biased. Now he ain't gonna be number 1. But I would say, yeah, he's top 3 out of Warner Robins. Yes.
Yeah. So, man, I just want to say this too, man. I want to say good luck. You know what I'm saying? Especially to, my 2026 group, man. Good luck to all them kids. Hopefully they go out and they show that they're ready. They can perform. Yeah, so yeah, he was a beast at Florida. Ron Simmons was a beast at Florida State. But yeah, I want to just say good luck to those cats who are going out there tomorrow. Those youngins, those young bulls who are gonna be out of tryout. It's their first high school tryout.
Hopefully they give it all they got, man. Don't leave nothing up for assumption when you go out there, dominate, separate, and execute. Go do those three things. So, good luck. Good luck to all those ones trying out tomorrow.
Yes, good luck, fellas. Good luck, fellas. Good luck to all of you.
And ladies.
And ladies, young ladies. It's something that
And
you've been working for, hopefully, all summer long hours in the gyms, early mornings, late nights. Something that you've been working for. So hopefully, it happens.
Take advantage of the opportunity.
Right. To piggyback off what John said, yeah, John, he was a beast at Florida State. He's actually in the College Football Hall of Fame as well.
Gotcha. Okay. Hey, before we get out of here, man, we've been on here for 2 hours and 40 minutes. But before we get out of here, man, KP, talk about the camp a little bit. The EYA middle school camp.
Oh yeah, went up to the middle school showcase. Shout out to Brad and the whole EYA staff. Good event, man. Had some good talent in there, and just doing it the right way. I was talking to Brad, and I kind of told him just the skill set of the kids these days. They're younger kids, middle school age kids, of course, but their skill set, you can see it developing. So it may not be done perfectly, but you see the intent and where they're going with it. And like I said, Brad and his staff are just enhancing that, teaching them terminology, teaching them, how to play the right way, what the certain expectations is. Everybody he had in there working this camp was either college or higher, played at college or higher, right? So they have that experience to give that direct experience back to the young kids. They had the boys middle school today. I know they had the girls high school yesterday. So just a long weekend and them putting in good work, man. We had 2 from our program go up. Both of them competed well. We seen the things that we needed to see. Right. So a little timid at first. Okay, got you. But now it's just basketball. So let's get in there and compete. So I was proud of what I seen. Actually, it was 2 of mine from my travel team, Boogie and Juju. So went up there and competed, as well as we had some Middle Georgia kids up there as well that were competing. So good stuff, man. Good stuff.
Hey, but also before we get out of here, man, just want to put this back up, kind of give you a reminder. Definitely tune in for the media day, the girls and boys for Houston County. It will be live stream. Make sure you tune in. We'll put out a schedule with exactly what time each program, each high school is going, the girls and boys, and we'll kind of go from there. But definitely look out for that. Tat, KP, anything y'all want to add to that?
Like I said, like we said earlier, just speak volume to what we're trying to do for our student athletes here in this county, coaches as well. I think we all here, know they deserve the things like this. To spotlight their programs, to spotlight their student athletes, and as well as. I don't know, man. I just think it's just something that was needed. I think the coaches and feel appreciated. For the jobs that they do, year in and year out. With your kids. So
you got coaches out here that care.
Yeah.
And understand what things like this can do to help their program and help their kids. And again, it's the exposure, it's the being able to market their program, market their kids, and you got coaches that want to do that type of stuff. So
I think just to add on to that, to what you're saying, KP and Tat, man, like Kyle Sandy and Wasey saying, girls basketball is really, really growing. So anytime we get an opportunity to provide exposure for that, we definitely gonna take advantage of that. And the expectation is for these coaches and these kids to take advantage of it as well, because it really is growing compared to what the rest of the state is, and they can go compete at a very high. These girls will have the opportunity to compete at a very high level
Not saying that the boys isn't there. It's just the girls, the talent pool just grew so fast. So it's take advantage of it. Don't be caught on the outskirts looking in, so to speak.
The two things that strike me about this flyer. Well, three things. Three things that strike me about this flyer is we got a lot of kind of high colors. At the top, the diamond is Northside blue, and veterans is first, and that kind of strikes me right there about this. Now I'll just mess with you.
But I was about to say, if you really
I was just playing, man.
Tell you about to get started.
I'm about to go with that. Hey, y'all hear me? That drill sergeant about to come out. It was about to come out. I'm just messing.
Yeah. So, hey, I do also want to give a shout out to Mr. McCook for letting us
yes
do this over at the Demon's Den. Shout out to Mr. McCook, man. He's been supportive of a lot of things that we've been trying to do. So we appreciate you, sir.
Absolutely.
And it's always good and easy when you got people like Mr. McCook and Mr. Maddox, which is the athletic director, that that is all for the exposure of student athletes and coaches and programs within the school. So man, that's good, and like you say, we really do appreciate them.
Yeah, hopefully it can rub off throughout, right, for other sports and other schools, and do what we need to do to help these young people, because that's what we say. We all say it's about the kids, but sometimes it come down, it doesn't seem to be. So whatever we can do, man,
and hopefully we can do it, and hopefully we can come and do this in your area. You let us know. You give us the feedback. We started here in House County, and let us know what we can do.
So I'm putting this one up because there will be the Harvard Invitational, and these are some of the alumni that have came through it. And of course, if you speak to Kawasi, that list, he's looking to grow that list for the boys and the girls. So be ready for that as well. So that's something else that's on the horizon that will be coming up. So
girls November 19th, right?
Girls November 19th.
We right around the corner.
Yeah, right around the corner, baby. About to get this show going. What up, Sam?
What up, Sam?
Tuned in just as we were tuning out.
Yeah. We'll get in that group chat, Sam.
Hey, Sam had a rough weekend, man.
Yeah, he did.
He had a rough one. Sam had a rough weekend, man.
But the Commanders and them Demons won.
There you go. Yeah, you got it, man. You right. You right.
So let's get out of here, man.
We're about to hit. Right. On that note.
That note.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, I bet you do.
We about to hit 3 hours. Get up out of here.
We love y'all. Time to go.
Yeah, time to go, Claude.
So check us next week. Looking to have Kyle Sandy back on with the boys rankings next Sunday. What's next Sunday? Yeah, next 30th. Sunday. Yeah, the 30th. So, yeah, next Sunday. So check us for that, and then in between time.
Hey, and y'all be on the lookout. My baby Kaylin Rose Brooks' birthday is Thursday. She will be Big 12.
Oh
man! So that's my baby have a birthday live.
Her birthday
want to stay with us.
27.
27.
Oh, Malik birthday 26.
Oh, well, happy birthday, Malik! And then.
So what is that? What sign is that?
Oh, Scorpio. What you mean?
Yeah, they Scorpio.
Big time Scorpio.
So, good night, Miss Deborah. You stayed with us through all the foolishness.
You did.
Yeah. You hung up in there.
She can co-sign. She can co-sign Charles' energy sometime.
Yeah.
Nah, man. Man, look, man. I be having good vibes, man. I be giving off good vibes.
Hey, y'all loving Westbrook?
I don't know where you
real
think
quick,
y'all
real quick.
from.
No. Look, we about to get out. We promise we're gonna get out of here. I just want to know your opinion, or I can save it to next week. But the NFL has been up and down. Who's a standout type of team right now?
The NFC East.
Kansas City and Philly.
Kansas City,
Kansas City and Philly.
NFC East.
I'd even throw the Giants in there. Although I'm not sold on the Giants, but I'm gonna throw them in there just because.
Jets and Giants won today.
You gotta put them in there. So
Everybody NFC East won today except for Philly. Philly ain't played today.
Philly had a bye. Did Buffalo have a bye?
Buffalo had a bye. Buffalo real deal. No, they played Thursday.
No, y'all wait till we get off here. I'm finna show y'all our division record versus everybody else. So y'all might as well get ready.
Your division is
now it's Charles. Now it's his whole division. You see that, right?
Yeah. Your whole division left is tough, but you ain't played everybody in your division. You done lost to everybody but people in your division. Besides Dallas. You lost to Dallas and Philly.
Yeah, the only team ain't played is who ain't played yet? The Giants.
And what's your record?
We 3-4. What?
We got 3-4.
Yes, we 3-4.
Oh, so y'all beat everybody outside of your division.
Yo, yes.
And lost to the two teams in your division plus two outside.
Yes.
All right. The math don't add up to that.
Okay, do I need to pull up y'all record?
Yeah, we 3-3.
Oh, okay.
We 500. Bills, Chiefs, and Philly. Yeah, I agree with that.
So I was just curious, because I was like, man, these games and the teams that people thought were going to be there, right? The so-called experts. So I just
they're the most consistent teams that I've seen so far. So Bills, Chiefs, and Philly.
Yeah,
they ain't played Taylor Heineke yet.
Man,
what?
Heineke go down, you know who up?
Oh, Howell, Sam Howell. Sam Howell. What school he went to? It don't matter.
Sam Howard. If Sam Howard's up, you know who's warming up in the bullpen.
Oh, you won't know who warming up in the Curtis Samuel? We'll put a tight end. I said now, we'll put a tight end back there before we put Jake Crum back there. Man, you crazy, man. We trying to win. We ain't trying to, man, don't get me started on that.
All right. Hey, so we're going to get out of here.
Don't get me started on that.
Before we get too far down there.
Don't get me started on that. I ain't with that.
Too far down the rabbit hole.
Ain't going to be no quarterback on my team. Ain't going to be no quarterback on my team. No.
Hey, man.
Hey, we appreciate y'all, man. We out. Peace.
Ain't going to be no quarterback on my team. I ain't studying that monkey made up. Monkey mother.